Mike Greenberg, Greeny.
Right now, the Chiefs are allowing 7.1 yards per play on the season. Through 5 games, they have turned every offense they've played into the greatest offense ever. And I don't care how good Mahomes is, and he's unreal. You can't overcome that. So I think the Chiefs are in by their standards, in some real trouble.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
WING 1410 Dayton.
Knock, knock.
Trick or treat.
Happy Halloween.
Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine and OGW Energy Resources. Kev, it is a beautiful 80-degree, muggy October day. So what do? I make a nice big crock pot of chili. And it's just I'm so mad at myself right now.
A little early for that, man.
Never too early. I mean, look, I love good. I love fall. Fall's my favorite. I love eating, like having a crock pot of chili, just simmering all day. You come home from work, you open that door, and man, that smell just punches you right in the face. Well, I went home at lunch just to check on it, and I opened the door, and it punched me in the face, but I had the humidity slapping me on the back of the head, and I'm like, oh, God, this was a horrible day to make chili. Like, it is just not good. Like, and then I think, like, tomorrow the temperature dips. Like, tomorrow, high school football, by the way, horrible weather for – actually, no, I lied. That's football weather tomorrow.
Right.
My bad. I don't know what I'm complaining about. I get to sit up in the press box with the roof over my head. All you parents, you guys have to sit out in the rain, so more power to you. But there you go. But yeah, happy Thursday. This week flying by as usual. Kev taking off, again yesterday like usual. It never works.
You know what? The crazy thing about like having a whole bunch of PTO days that you got to try to map out throughout the rest of the year is even though you take off, you end up working. I ended up working yesterday a little bit, doing some website stuff for the stations and everything like that, because I was sitting at home. I went to the gym, worked out. The wife leaves for work. So I'm just sitting there like, what do I do now? Because I wasn't tired. Because normally I would just go, hey, I'll go take a nap or watch a movie. Nope, I ended up doing some website stuff because I didn't have anything better else to do.
Well, yeah, you're back today.
Yes, sir.
Jake Whiting, he says, Kev's back. So
I'm here. I'm here.
There you go. All right, a lot to get into today. So I found this interesting, Kev. Baseball season, at least for the Reds, has been over for a few weeks now. Mike Shildt, been manager of the Cardinals for a while. They won 17 straight games in the last month of the season to literally just scream into the playoffs. Now, they lose that 5-game series against the Dodgers.
Right.
And, their manager, Mike Shildt, is out. The Cardinals have let him go. How and good for teams who have standards, good for teams who have the drive to win and have high expectations. And Kev, where do you go? Like, when I hear people say, like, so for David Bell, the Cincinnati Reds, they were second place in the NL Central. Now, again, they finished in second or whatever. No, they did not, obviously, because the Cardinals swooped up, so they fell out. But my point is they were second in the first half of the season. They were within a couple games of the Brewers. They took 3 or 4 from the Brewers, that final series before the All-Star break. And they had all this momentum. They come out about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, the trade deadline, they get the bullpen addressed. So we were told by all the Reds fans that the reason that they struggled is because they didn't have a bullpen. So the front office goes and gets them a bullpen. And I'm not saying they got worse because of that bullpen, but they didn't even use that bullpen at all anyways. What was the point of going to get those guys for David Bell to continue throwing out the same overused, underperforming guys from the first half of the season? So the Reds choke, and they don't make the playoffs. And they don't just choke, and they don't just not make the playoffs, but they choked in a way that they were the more talented team losing to less talented. Mm-hmm. It's one thing if you're the Pirates who blew up who are rebuilding and don't even have what many would consider a true Major League Baseball roster to begin with. But like, you look at the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs were not great in the first half of the season. They were winning some, losing some, but then they blew up their roster. And their entire lineup was depleted, and you didn't recognize half the names in there. but yet they finished with the better second half record with a minor league roster in the second half than the Reds, who I know Jesse Winker was in and out with injuries. Castellanos was in and out with injuries. But that's baseball. The Reds, I mean, of all the bad teams in the second half, the Reds had Jesse Winker. You had Nick Castellanos. You had Mike Moustakas. You had Eugenio Suarez. You had Joey Votto, who returned to form. I mean, there was no excuse. I don't really want to, rehash all the Reds, failures, but I do want to bring to light that, that the Reds underperformed. They underachieved. They choked. While the Cardinals are winning 17 straight, the Reds are dropping 2 or 3 to the Pirates every other series. They're dropping 2 or 3 to the Tigers. They're dropping 2 or 3 to the Marlins, to bad baseball teams. And that's just not okay. So my stomach hurt when I saw that the Reds had given David Bell that 2-year extension. I don't hate David Bell, but obviously something's not cooking here. They're just an average team. They're a 500 ball club with him, which is better than, losing 100 plus games that we've seen, over the last 7-8 years since the rebuild started. But it's frustrating because I don't feel like the Reds have a high standard or a desire to win. I don't think the Reds have that cutthroat approach. We saw the Padres, who, they choked down the second half of the season. They wasted no time in getting rid of their manager the second the season ended. And that's a team that had a ton of talent. And just like the Reds, now Padres more talented roster-wise, but talented nonetheless. They said that's not acceptable. They moved on from their manager. The Cardinals, they were average to below average for, I'd say, 75% of the season, but they hung around. And then that 25%, that final 25% of the season where they just flipped that switch and did what the Cardinals typically do, they went screaming into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And the Cardinals say, we appreciate that, but we have higher expectations. Why can't you do what you did that final 25% of the season in the front 75%? Then you win 110 games, and we don't have to worry about sneaking into the playoffs or having to rely on some miraculous 17-game win streak to get you in. The Cardinals have high standards. Right. They have a vision. They know what they're aiming for. The Padres have spent a ton of money, have a talented roster. They have a vision. They know what they're aiming for. The Reds spent $160 million in the offseason 2 years ago, which is what got Moustakas, Castellanos, and others. They spent a record amount in free agency. And they spent money. They had talented players. But I feel like bringing David Bell back is them saying, what else are we going to do? I don't think they know where they're going. I think the Cardinals have a vision in their head. I think the Cardinals know where they want to go. The Cardinals are like, hey, that's super. We made the playoffs. Like, Schilt should have gone home after that and said, okay, man, that, it was a tough season, but man, that was fun. The run into the playoffs. We took the Dodgers, who that's the defending World Series champions. It took 5 games for the defending World Series champions, who are more loaded this year than last year. I know a little injured, but it's still the Dodgers with that payroll and that talent everywhere. It took 5 full games to hold off the Cardinals. And the Cardinals front office said, thanks, but no thanks. We have a higher standard. We expect greatness from beginning to end. We don't like this up and down. We don't want to, they have a vision. The Padres have a vision. The Yankees won 98 games this year, or 92 or 98. They've won so since Aaron Boone took over the Yankees, they have won 92 games or more every year since he took over the Yankees. They're still back and forth on whether they want to bring Aaron Boone back because, and again, I hate using the Yankees. That's like you know what I mean? You don't use Alabama football to tell an Iowa, hey, you need to do what Alabama did. Like, sometimes you need to take that team out of it. You need to take the Patriots with Tom Brady out of it and say, look, everyone needs to stop trying to be the Patriots. That's why there's only been one Patriots dynasty in the last 2 decades because of that. But I do think you look at the Cardinals. I think that's a small to mid-market team like the Reds. That should be their goal. Not a World Series every year, but my goodness, you should at least be competing for one every 5. The Reds aren't even making the playoffs once every 5 years. So that's what's frustrating. All these teams have standards. They have a vision. They have expectations. The Yankees know what they expect and want. Take them out of it, though. But the Cardinals, 17 straight games, they win. They scream into the playoffs. They take the defending World Series champion to 5 games before losing, and then they fire their manager. The Padres win a ton of games, one of the top teams in baseball. They choke down the stretch. They don't give the manager the benefit of the doubt. They say, we're spending too much money on this roster for us to take a chance with you not pushing the right buttons. You're out of here. The Reds frustrate me, Kev. I just don't get it. They just don't seem to be a team that has a vision. Even your team, the Guardians now, it's weird to say, the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians, they are officially the Guardians. The second that the Cleveland Indians of the past, that last game, they put that behind them. They are the Cleveland Guardians moving forward. Like, Guardians fans don't have to like their plan. But
Right.
you as sorry, that it's going to take time to get used to. But you as a Guardians fan, you have to understand, like, you trust that they have a vision, right? Like, even when the Reds got rid of Jay Bruce and Brandon Phillips, and they moved on from Todd Frazier and Johnny Cueto and everybody else, I was like, well, they're going in rebuild mode. They have a plan. They have a vision. They're dumping salary. They're dumping payroll. They're getting their money in place, and they're going to attack this rebuild. At least during that losing, I was okay. I tolerated the losing because the losing was all for a purpose. It was for setting the pieces up to go all in. I don't think the Reds have a plan right now. But you as a Guardians fan, I know they let Francisco Lindor go. They let a lot of arms and pitching go. Look at all the arms that they've said goodbye to the last couple of years. They at least have a vision. They have a plan. We've seen them do this before where they got it down and put it back together. As a Reds fan, I would kill to be a Guardians fan right now. I would kill to be a Padres fan right now. I would kill a Yankees fan, whatever. That's easy to be a Yankees fan.
Yes.
But like, I would kill to be a Cardinals fan right now, because although it sounds bad that your team just fired your manager, but that's your front office saying, hey, no, we have an expectation to win. And not win the last month of the season. We want to win from April until all the way deep into October. They have high expectations. If you're a Cardinals fan today, good for you. I'm jealous of you. I envy you. Our team has a underperforming year, and they reward our manager, who the team that he's leading chokes in the second half of the season. They reward him with a 2-year contract extension. I'm sorry for harping on David Bell again, folks, but I've seen too many teams around baseball who actually have a vision, who actually have a plan, and who actually hold their players and managers accountable. That's not the Reds. But, as a Guardians fan, you I think feel comfortable in trusting them, right?
I have this conversation with my dad and my brother and my cousins all the time about the Cleveland Guardians. We all know what the deal is. They're going to have the up for like 3 or 4 years, and then they're going to go down for like 3 or 4 years. It's a roller coaster ride. It's been a roller coaster ride through several ownership groups. And now the latest rumor is they're looking for another minority owner to, get some more cash inflow, to, spend some money to go along with all the good pitching that they got, young pitching they got. So to have a better team this upcoming season, everything like that. Everybody knows what the deal is, and everybody in the Cleveland media knows what it is. So it's no mystery about what's going on. People don't like it. People look at other teams and they say, well, why can't we do it like that? Well, why can't we do it like that? They come out and say, this is what we're doing. So my question would be, for the media that covers the Reds on a daily basis, are those questions being asked to management? Because apparently the management is cool with what David Bell is doing, because they gave him a contract extension. So my thing about David Bell isn't necessarily what he's doing, is what is he being told he's doing? Because apparently what he's being told he's doing it right. He's doing what they want. He's executing their plan. So the media down there that covers them on a daily basis needs to ask them, what is the long-term goal? What is the 5-year plan? Maybe not even long-term goal. We know what the ultimate goal is, to win the World Series. But, okay, what's the 3-year plan here? Because, every so often the team changes. Like, these guys don't stick around forever. It's not going to be with you the entire tenure. So what is the short-term goal here? What are we trying to accomplish here? What is David Bell's purpose here if we're not going to the playoffs on a consistent basis? So I understand where you're coming from with the David Bell deal, or whatever we'll call it. But my questions would be towards the general managers and saying, like, so what's up? Like, why is this the game plan? Or what is the actual game plan? Because I don't necessarily understand it. That's the questions I would be asking.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash is live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show, like and subscribe to The Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, and jump in on the conversation. I don't mean to be too negative about the Reds, because that's my team. Like, people act like I hate the Reds. I don't hate the Reds. I'm mad at them because they are not providing me the experiences. Like, I'm watching Red Sox fans right now. I'm watching Astros fans. I'm watching Cardinals fans, Dodgers fans. I'm watching all these fan bases who are just loving life in the month of October. And it's jealousy. And all of you Reds fans that are making excuses for the organization, you're not helping any. But because what you're doing, you're not putting pressure on the organization. You're allowing that, by like all those stat nerds out there that like drool over David Bell's analytical approach. My big thing is this: in everything you do in sports life, it's to win games. So if David Bell is doing a good job with his analytical approach, if he's doing a good job with that analytical approach, but it's not leading to wins, what are we cheering?
Right.
Like, what is the purpose of having that? Like, I heard Alex Rodriguez, he was on with Colin Cowherd the other day, and he brought up a good point. He didn't want to throw the team under the bus that he was talking about, but he said he got to be in the war room, or in the clubhouse, before a game in the playoffs. And he said there were 30 individuals that were around this big table that were all like, okay, here's the lineup. No. We got to change. We got to move him over here because of blah, 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 blah. And like, I'm listening to this and I'm fascinated by it because I'm always like interested in like who comes up with that line. Is it just David Bell with his legs crossed and his glasses down at the end of his nose, just kind of making it, the list? No, like it's like he compared it to, I said the war room because he compared it to the NFL draft. Like Colin Cowherd talked about, he got to be in a war room one time before a draft and they all sat around this table. And it's just a bunch of people not screaming at one another, but like chirping, giving their input, saying, no, the numbers show this, the numbers show that. We need to get this guy. And that's what Alex Rodriguez compared, making a simple lineup. That's way too many cooks in the kitchen. 30 people. Who needs 30 people to make a lineup? That is insane. Baseball was so good for so long before that. Like, to me, it's just not a good thing. And I'm watching these playoffs, and there's too many starters who are being taken out after the fourth inning. And I see all this money that's being, just dumped out to these pitchers. And I'm like, why are we paying these ace pitchers that much money for 4 innings of work a night? Like I used to get, like, I'm all for paying pitchers because you can't win without them. I used to think that, but as I'm watching how they're being used right now, it's frustrating. Why are we paying these guys max dollars pitching wise to go out there in these playoffs and they walk one batter and the managers pee their pants and get with nervousness and like, well, my gut says he's fine, but the numbers show I need to go get him. I mean, we're about to go the third time through the order. Think about how dominant and fun the playoffs were growing up when we'd watch that and we'd see these great pitchers duels. And, you'd have your Randy Johnsons and your Kurt Schillings and all that. Kurt Schilling, if he pitched today, and I don't care what people think of him personally, I'm talking about Kurt Schilling, the pitcher, the bloody sock game would not exist. He didn't get the bloody sock until about the 5th inning. Today's game, he wouldn't even had a chance. Actually, they would have said, "Oh, we're protecting him from his foot." That historic moment in baseball would not even have happened, Kev. Like, that's how crazy it is. That he didn't even have that bloody sock didn't start really kind of soaking up until about the 4th or 5th inning. He would have been out by then in today's game before he even got to that. It was a historic moment. But why was it historic? Not just because he had a bloody sock. It was because the way he pitched through it. He made his legacy in October. He was just this tough guy. He brought this persona to the team, an identity to the team that you don't have time to set an identity for a team with 4 innings of work a night. It's just I'm rambling now because there's so many things. These playoffs are making me salty. The playoffs are supposed to be the time where you sit down and watch it and it takes you back to your childhood and you just love the game. I'm angry at the game. I'm watching the game in disgust right now. I'm like, they took him out after 4 innings. Like, what are we doing here?
I don't get it either, man. And it's just something that we're all just going to have to get used to, the way, baseball is being played in this current format. It's very frustrating because I'm sure as a player, you don't want to come out. I'm sure as a player, as a competitor, if you're the guy, if you're the ace, if you're the starter and you're, maybe you don't have your best stuff, but, you're still out there competing and everything like that. And you're getting pulled in the 4th inning. Like, that's just not how you want to be, man. And what makes it worse is because you're a starter for a reason. That means you are the guy. You're the guy for the night, not the guy just for now. So it's very frustrating for a fan base that watches baseball on a consistent basis for guys to be pulled so early in the game because, I remember Charlie Nagy. He was a pitcher for the then Cleveland Indians, and he was our ace. He was our guy. And I remember in '97, the World Series, then when they ended up losing to the Marlins and everything like that, he pitched in Game 6. No. He pitched in Game 5. The Marlins, and we ended up winning Game 6. So we pushed it to 7 with the Marlins and everything like that. He came in extra innings because he was the guy. They could have went to somebody else, a regular pitcher that's in the bullpen. No, we want our best guy out there. Like, he's our best pitcher in a crunch moment because Mesa gave it up. He gave up the lead in the bottom of the 9th. He gave up the lead. So in the extras, they put Charlie Nagy in. Granted, we still end up losing, but I felt good because, hey, man, we put Charlie Nagy in there. We put in our best guy. And that's what all people want. People want their best guys out there, especially in the playoffs. This isn't July. This isn't June. This is the playoffs. It's winner go home time, man. So every out counts. you got to have your best guys out there longer than 4 innings.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine and OGW Energy Resources. Remember, we're live on Facebook, but we got the phone lines back open and running today. Give us a call, 518-1410. Baseball fans, your overall view of the Cardinals moving on from their manager after they won 17 straight to close out the regular season. They steamrolled into the playoffs. They took the defending World Series champions, the Dodgers, to 5 games. And right after they lose in that series, they move on. They move on because they have a high, standard. They have high expectations. They have a vision. The Reds have a great, not a great, they have holes in it, don't get me wrong, but they have stars on that roster. They have players on that roster. They underachieved. They choked. They lost to less talented teams down the stretch, the Cubs, the Pirates, the Marlins, the Tigers. Oh, my. They lost all those teams. So I'm just curious, why is it okay for the Reds to extend David Bell? Why are you okay with that? And if you're not okay with it, tell us why. 518-1410, 518-1410. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low near 66. And tomorrow will be cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 82. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
500,000 businesses connect using Zoom, a single platform for video, phone, chat, and conference rooms. Zoom enables real-time collaboration no matter where your teams are. Global enterprises trust the easy-to-use, reliable, and secure Zoom platform to power high-performance teams. Empower your workforce with Zoom. Save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with a Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole in one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
So as you guys know, Mark's gone.
The float artist at Fred's Floral just took off days before the parade. They need a replacement before business passes them by.
Oh, and who am I going to get to finish the float?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Buckeye fans, as the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for 2 to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner will be chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun casual joint and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Elevate your curb appeal and protect your home with Menard's unbeatable selection of great roofing products. Built with beauty and durability, Atlas shingles add great value to your home while protecting it from the harshest elements with Atlas limited lifetime warranty. Save today with 11% off all Atlas shingles. Get 11% off everything now at Menard's. Good through October 16th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menard's. Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
If you've got a small business, you know there's nothing more valuable than your time. So why waste it at the post office? Stamps.com makes it easy to mail and ship right from your computer. No special equipment required. Whether you're an office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. You'll even get exclusive discounts on postage and shipping from USPS and UPS. And their new Rate Advisor tool lets you compare shipping rates across carriers so you always find the best option. Save time and money with Stamps.com. There's no risk, and when you go to Stamps.com and use offer code FOCUS, you'll receive a 4-week free trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top and enter code FOCUS. That's Stamps.com, promo code FOCUS. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone. Get in zone, AutoZone. More details at AutoZone.com.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Hi, John Glazer here for Glazier Soft Water. We've been making water great since 1988, and no matter what your water issues, we have solutions. Your city water can be clear, but still be hard and have the taste and odor of chlorine. Well water can look, smell, and taste terrible. Glazier Soft Water will fix your water and will even include a 7-year parts and labor warranty so you don't have to worry. Visit our website to learn more at glaziersoftwater.com. Glazier Water really is better water.
Frickin' football is here. Frickers has the games on all the screens and you score with savings. Enjoy your favorite ice-cold domestic draft personal pitchers for only $6.50. A 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6.50. And enjoy a plate of your favorite frickin' nachos for just $7. Take your frickin' pick. Frickin' chicken nachos, Mississippi barbecue nachos, or Nachos Supreme, only $7. This season, don't just be a football fan, be a Nacho fan. At the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager, Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need service, we're here. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 6 to 8, and Saturdays from 7 to 5. We proudly offer a state-of-the-art facility with factory-trained technicians, clean waiting room, and service department. Loaner cars are available during service, and free alignment checks with any service. Be sure to stop in and ask for our $39.95 oil change special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, east of 675, between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
First off, congratulations, Keith, as an Ohio State champ. Dolphin fans, doesn't get much better. Well deserved, you know.
Thank you.
But this is a Heisman Trophy run by Keith Byers.
I want to congratulate Mr. Byers on his nod to the Hall of Fame for college football.
He's running without a shoe with a touchdown.
Keith, man, you're awesome, dude. Represent the Gym City, man. I love it.
Congratulations to Dayton's own Keith Byers, the 26th Buckeye to be selected to the College Football Hall of Fame.
Truly an honor and a blessing and a privilege, you know, to be one of the ones that go into the Hall of Fame. And I've never been selfish to think it's all about me. No, it's about us. And the city of Dayton, Ohio, has been very, 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 good to me.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
Oh, what? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We opened up with the breaking news out of Major League Baseball that the Cardinals have moved on from Mike Schilt, their longtime manager, of course. And the Cardinals were one of the more entertaining storylines of this past 2021 MLB regular season. They won 17 straight. They roared into the playoffs. My mistake. I said they played the Dodgers. They did not play the Dodgers. It doesn't matter who they played in the playoffs. The point is that they got there, and that's what matters. I mean, it's what matters, yes, because to even have a chance to win the championship, of course, you have to get to the dance that matters, right? So the Cincinnati Reds, I don't even think have aspirations to even make the playoffs. Like the fact that that was such a disappointing closeout to the regular season. The fact that was rewarded with a 2-year contract extension is beyond me. The New York Yankees win 90-plus games. They've won 90-plus games every year that Aaron Boone has been there. Their season ends in the playoffs, and yet they're still they're kind of tossing around the idea of whether even they want Aaron Boone back. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me. People like to beat up on the Yankees. Good for the Yankees for having high expectations. Good for the Red Sox. Good for the Cardinals. Good for the Padres. Good for all these teams that say, you know what? Our job's to win games, and if you can't win these games, then so be it. Kev, here's the frustrating thing. I hear this all the time. Well, it's not David's Bells. It's like David's Copperfield. So you know that Jimmy's John's commercials. Putting S's at the end of everything. But I hate when people do this. It's not David Bell's fault they didn't have bullpen. It's not David Bell's fault that Eugenio Suarez could. Can you name me a coach or manager in any sport that has ever lost their job after winning a World Series or winning? I'm sure there are coaches who've lost their job. Phil Jackson comes to mind, but he didn't technically get fired, although he sort of. My point is that every manager or coach has lost a job. It's because of poor performance or John Gruden's case, being an idiot. Like, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, of course, David Bell's not swinging the bat or missing balls or not getting people out. Every manager is held accountable for the team performance, regardless of the talent that's on there. So I hate when people use that excuse. Where are you with that? Like, every coach has been fired. It's because the team's not performing good or bad.
I understand what both people say or both parties are saying, because I think in basketball and in football is a more tangible view of what a coach does. But in baseball, they're not even a coach. They're not even technically called a coach. They're called a manager. So what do they actually do? Because, a football coach, they're coming up with game plans. They're coaching their coaches and everything like that. Same thing with the NBA, everything like that. I know the managers are responsible for, the lineups and everything like that. But the ins and outs in the day-to-day of a manager versus a head coach in the NBA or in the NFL are totally different. I think that's where people view it is like, well, he's just a manager. He's just a manager. He's not the coach like it is in the NFL. I think there's a direct correlation between wins and losses with a head coach in the NBA and the NFL than opposed to MLB. I don't necessarily, because I'm not the biggest baseball guy in the world, but I just don't see what baseball managers do. I just don't see the day-to-day that they do. But they are ultimately responsible because they are the ones in charge. They're the ones in charge. They're responsible for keeping guys motivated, coming up with the lineups and everything like that. But when you have this new age of analytics and everything like that, and, you know, the GMs and everything like that from the baseball perspective have all these numbers and the number crunching and everything going on, they're almost like robots. So the things that Terry Francona would do back when he was with the Red Sox, would they be allowed to do that nowadays? Like Francona's allowed to do that with the Guardians and everything like that, but he has that clout. You know what I'm saying? He has all these years of experience. He brought the Red Sox. He got them a World Series, everything like that. So I understand what you're saying, and I also understand what people are saying, like, well, he's not the one out there batting, but his responsibility to get the right bat in the lineup at the right time. But then again, like we always continually go back to, who's telling him to do what? Who's really pulling the strings of the team? Because there's a lot of baseball teams out there that the manager is just the guy that's going out there, but the people really in charge of making the decisions are up in the front office watching the game from a skybox.
Yeah, and see, so I remember when Schlemmer and I were doing the show together, and he's a baseball guy. His, you know, family is all about baseball. He grew up in the sport of baseball. You know, his coach at UD. You know, his family. You know, pro baseball family, all that. And I remember I offended him one day because we did the topic of which sport does coaching mean the least, and I was adamant it was baseball. And back then, it was around the transition of overmanaged. Like baseball is just the most overmanaged sport at this point in time. I think it's so overmanaged. And I think it's overmanaged. Like I used to think baseball managers didn't do squat because we would never see, we would see them in the 6th or 7th inning when they'd come make a pitching change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, that's all they just sit there. They put the lineup out. They sit there till the 7th inning while everyone's doing the 7th inning stretch while they go take the ball from the pitcher. They just kind of, you know, every coach has their little thing, whether they just kind of salute the bullpen, point at the bullpen, snap their finger, wave it in the air. They all, you know, they signal the bullpen to come out. So that's why I used to feel like they would just, you know, you'd never see the manager unless the camera would pan over to him during the game or something or whatever. They're just sitting there, you know. Look, I remember I was a big Braves fan growing up because I, you know, stay with my grandma would babysit.
Look, you and Shaw got something in common.
She would always have the Braves game on, and there's, you know, Bobby Cox and there's Mazzoni just sitting there. He did this thing where he'd sit in the chair. There goes the camera. He would just kind of keep rocking back and forth. Like I don't know why I remember that, but like that would be the only time I would see Bobby Cox or Mazzoni's, you know, a pitching change. Now, I swear, David Bell gets more TV time than Baker Mayfield with Hulu has live sports. I mean, it's unbelievable. David Bell's out there every other inning. So that's why I feel like they're more to blame now because they're making more decisions during the game. Back then, it was, we're going to ride or die with our pitcher. I mean, you would sometimes take them out in the 3rd if they just don't have their stuff. But you have David Bell. You'll have a pitcher who has given up maybe 2 hits through 5 innings and hasn't given up a run, and David Bell's making a pitching change to, you know, just to make a pitching change. Now, I can't disrespect it like that. There's a reason they're making a pitching change because the numbers say, hey, we're trying to, you know, damage, rather than do damage control, we're trying to do preventative measures here. I get that, but I just can't get on board with that. Fans can't get on board with that. I will say, baseball is the most overmanaged or overcoached. Football, because all the changes are made and substitutions coming in and out. Like we don't see all the changes. You know, when I watch an Ohio State football game, I'll go look at the end to see how many guys rotated in and out of offensive line. Like the average about you'll see about 11, 12 guys a Saturday playing offensive line for Ohio State. And that includes the Browns, Bengals, and everybody. Like, I'm like, oh, I didn't even you never notice half the time the guys coming in and out in a football game. So they're constantly making changes too, because the analytics on 1st and 8, they have analytics for 1st and 10, for 2nd and 8, for 3rd and 7, for 3rd and 1, for 3rd and 15. And so they have all these different scenarios of guys that they have out there for these different things. We just don't see it as much. But baseball, it's so personal. It's a slower sport. You see the manager come out, the camera follows him. the camera's not on the coaches watching them every time that, okay, it's 3rd and 7 coming up. And then they have a whole file of everything that can happen on 3rd and 7. It's fascinating to me. But no, David Bell, the reason I say that is because he's making the decisions. How many times have we seen him make a pitching change that leads to, boom, more hits, more walks, more runs given up, blown leads? It is frustrating.
I don't think we'll ever get a true answer until the David Bell experience is over with the Reds, much like we got with Brian Price. Like, he kind of explained his viewpoint of what happened during his tenure with the Reds.
And it looks like it's the same thing that's going on with David Bell because, look, but that's the thing. It's not just a Reds thing. I think I'd say 90% of Major League Baseball. It's the analytical approach. You got to do it this way. But I've talked about this in basketball before. You got to, I mean, every team, basketball is played like the 3-point line. It's a 3-point game now. When I grew up, it was all about the centers. It was all about, the Barkleys and the Shaqs and the Duncans and the Robinsons. And it was all about, the Malones. It was all about the 4s and the 5s. And then, of course, complemented by great guard play with my, MJ and everybody. But it was all about, you don't win championships unless you have a post presence. The Bulls, the 90s Bulls were today, like they're way ahead of their time. Like what we watch today is what the Bulls were in the 90s. Like, they were just much smaller team. They weren't dominant. They had a post presence, but they didn't run everything through they ran it through the triangle offense. But the point is today's game is all about the 3-point shot. And man, if you don't have a 3-point shooter, you don't have a win. But when teams don't have good 3-point shooters, they don't just keep heaving up bad 3-point shots.
That's the Rockets.
And but
I'm playing with you. I'm playing.
Look at there are teams in the NBA who they're not good 3-point shooting teams,
right?
And they also take the least amount of 3-point shots in the game. The Reds could be one of the worst hitting teams or home run hitting teams in baseball, but they're still trying to knock it out of the park every time because, well, you got to hit home runs to win. You got to hit home runs to win. You got to hit threes to win. You got to hit three. Except basketball teams have the mindset of, well, if that's not our strength, we're not going to keep doing that. The Cleveland Browns, their strength is the run game. Run, right? The Bengals are a passing team. Pass. So, that would be like, you have a good passing quarterback in Joe Burrow, and yet instead of allowing him to pass, you just keep handing it off. You're a better passing team than running team. So you're only hurting yourself by limiting what your strength is. The Browns are the opposite. Baker's not the best passing quarterback in the NFL, so Stefanski limits it. Hand off to your number one run game. And you limit it. You play to your strengths and weaknesses. Baseball doesn't play to their strengths and weaknesses. They play to the analytics. The numbers as a whole show this, so we got to do this. Well, they only let their starter go 4 innings, so we got to let our starter go 4 innings. That drives me nuts. I looked this up, Kev. How about this? The Cincinnati Reds this season, their starting pitchers in 2021 had 864 total innings. Now, that number, I was like, I don't know if that's high or low. They were actually top 10. Like, they were in the top
864?
10. 864. Back in 2012, they had 1,018 innings. Back in 2013, they had 1,010 innings. So, or 1,003 innings, I apologize. So 1,018 innings, the starters. Okay. The starting pitchers for the Reds back in 2018 pitched 1,018 innings. That is 154 more innings than the Reds starters pitched this year. That's 17. You divide that by 9, that's 17 entire games more that the starters pitched for the Reds than today. That is insane. So, and that's a pattern across Major League Baseball. What I was actually looking for, and it drives me nuts, I would love to see Major League Baseball. And by the way, I'm going to challenge our listeners because you guys might be smarter with how, I'm an old 30-year-old who doesn't know how to use the internet, apparently. Someone help me out and find this for me because I couldn't find it. I only had the commercial break to look it up. But I want to know the total amount of pitches thrown by starters in all of Major League Baseball this year combined compared to 2000, 2010 in that range. I would love to see because I guarantee you, we're talking about thousands and thousands of innings of a difference. And that's why I have a problem with so much money being invested into these starters. You look at Trevor Bauer. The Reds couldn't keep Trevor Bauer because he got that $40 million a year, which is the most in Major League Baseball. Now take to put aside what he's going through legally on the side. But think of how much money you invest into somebody to use them less. Now, I'm of the mindset that I would rather spend money on pitchers who there's a direct correlation between the teams with the best pitching and the teams that win Super Bowls. Jesus, you idiot. The teams with the best pitchers and the teams that win World Series, there's a direct correlation there. There is not a direct correlation between the teams that have the highest paid position players in teams that win World Series. There's a reason Bryce Harper leaves the Nationals. Nationals, you think you lose your best player, you don't win. Not only do they keep winning, they win the World Series, not the Super Bowl, because Kinner's an idiot. So that's my point. Like, I always think you don't need to put money into the position players. You need to put money all in your pitching, but you're putting a lot of money into guys that you're only using 4 times a night, once every 5 days, not counting injuries, not counting, whatever. It drives me crazy. I just hate how much money is dumped into these pitchers, because that's really what alters how these rosters are built. It's insane to me, but I cannot believe that the Reds, 17 games worth of starting pitcher innings, less, more back in 2012 than this season. It's insane.
That's a lot of pitches left on the table by your best guys, because obviously they're starters. I would want to see those numbers compared to the teams that actually won the World Series. Like, take the Reds for the last, 5 years, take that sample size of their starting pitchers, and then just take each World Series winning team and then compare it to that. Like, I would like to see those numbers, because if their starting pitchers are pitching more, that will tell you should have your starting pitchers pitch more. Because let's just say, like, if your bullpen isn't any good and your starting pitcher is at least above average, you're putting in worse players as opposed to your better player. So, like, I get the whole fatigue thing and yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. But at some point, man, like, we just got to realize, like, that's a part of sports. But you're going to get fatigued.
But at what point did fatigue become a thing for starting pitchers? Because for hundreds of years, pitchers went 7, 8, 9 innings. And now we got to worry about, oh, man, he went 5 in 3 straight innings. We really got to be careful that we don't wear him out by the end. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's insane to me. It really is.
I don't get it either, because to me, at least, it seems like injuries are up for pitchers, even though their activity is down. So what's going on here? Like, I personally think, I just read this article and they're saying it's the lack of activity. It's the lack of keeping that motion going. It's a lack of doing those pitches over and over and over again, building up that muscle memory and that strength in the elbows and everything like that. Is you're not getting enough work. So it's $1 million question, man, that we definitely don't have the answers to, because this thing can go on and on and on, because nobody's sad. Because at the end of the day, if your team wins the World Series playing this way, you'll be happy. If they're not, you'll be pissed off. Like, that's just the way it is. And, we're looking at the teams playing right now, playing some great baseball. Great games are on nightly, but your team isn't in it. My team isn't in it. And it's just like, I tune in for a hot second, and I, much like yourself, I get frustrated. Like, we're not playing. Click. No need to watch, because my team's not in it.
Yeah. And keep in mind, what's fascinating to me is, at the end of the day, baseball is trying to sell the concept of playing your stars less. David Bell continuously taking out Nick Castellanos or a Joey Votto or a Moustakas, and Moustakas did not play well this year, but you know what I'm talking about. You're talking about star power. You want fans to go to games, they want to go watch stars.
Right.
They pay good money to go watch the stars play. And then David Bell does a double switch in the 4th inning, and out goes Votto. One of the biggest storylines of the year was the little girl that could not wait to go watch Joey Votto play. Now, I know he got tossed, but it was either going to be the umpire that tossed him in the 2nd inning or David Bell 2 innings later whenever they did a double switch, I'm sure. So he was going to get tossed one way or another. But my point is imagine in basketball, imagine in football, if the analytics show that, man, if your starting quarterback only plays 2.5 quarters instead of 4, that his QBR is higher, that he's fresher, there's less injuries, so we're going to take him out. The NFL would be like, no, you got to play your stars. Put your stars in. The NBA has battles with their players all the time about resting their players, because the fans pay to watch the stars. They want the stars out there. And baseball is here saying, well, we would love to allow you to see more of the star pitcher, but the analytics show we could only use them for 3 or 4 innings. Sorry, guys. There's no reason why, if you are a starting pitcher, why you should be getting just 1 inning less per game than the bullpen. That it does not. I mean, bullpen should be to clean up the mess at the end as you start to get more tired. I don't know. It's insane. All right, again, a lot in the comment section. We're going to get to that. We'll read your comments and take your calls on the other side. Kev has some cool stuff regarding the Big Noon Kickoff. He says I'm going to like it. I don't like the Big Noon Kickoff, but he says what he has for me, I'm going to like.
You're going to love it.
You'll love this. You'll love it. We'll get to that in 12 minutes at the top. We'll step away for a few. When we come back, we'll dive in to everyone's comments in the chat section. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. Anything you want to chime in regarding what we're talking about here with baseball, let me know. The playoffs, I remember when I loved the playoffs. I would watch the playoffs, and it would just be magical to me. Now I sit here and I'm spiteful. I'm just like, oh, I hate this. Where's the Reds? And it's not the game that I remember. I'm 30 years old saying it's not the game I grew up
Chill out,
watching.
Grandpa.
Yeah, like the fact that baseball is making 30-year-olds sound old, that's a problem, by the way. We'll be back.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for their entry-level machinists. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages starting at $15 per hour and up to $18 per hour with prior experience. New hires are eligible for merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
OHMB 803342 and MLS 304138. Do you need help with a loan to purchase or refinance your home? Have you applied for a home loan and been told you do not qualify for a loan? Are you a first-time buyer and have questions regarding the home buying process? Are you considering refinancing your existing home? Do you live in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, or South Carolina? If you answered yes to any of the above questions, you need to call Forrest Ferris at 3rd Street Financial Home Loans at 513-320-5911, who is available 7 days a week to help you. We're 3rd Street Financial Home Loans, and Forrest Ferris specializes in approving home loans banks and other lenders cannot or will not approve. Some of our clients might have low credit scores, been through a divorce, want to buy a home for sale by owner, are in a land contract, or dealing with probate or estate homes. Call Forrest now for a free estimate, 513-320-5911. That's 513-320-5911. Offer valid for purchase or refinancing of homes located in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, and South Carolina only. Minimum loan amount $60,000. Limitations and restrictions apply.
The Meyer Distribution Center in Tip City is hiring for warehouse positions in all units. Includes flexible schedules, best-in-class benefits, starting wages up to $18.60, and $2,000 sign-on bonus. Candidates can apply online at jobs.meyer.com. Keyword search distribution. Location Tip City. Or call 937-669-9109. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Walk-in interviews are available with on-the-spot job offers. Monday through Friday. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call 937-669-9109. Meyer is an equal opportunity employer.
Help DEA keep our community safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Takeback Day, October 23rd. Visit DEATakeback.com.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live on Facebook, talking, of course, about Major League Baseball. Mike Schilt, the head coach. My goodness, I've called the championship in baseball the Super Bowl. I'm calling managers coaches. It's an off day for Kinner today, and you're probably thinking, I would love to know what an on day is like for him. But we're talking about that. I just talked about how the Cardinals have expectations. They have a vision for everything, for where they want the franchise to go. They know what they want the team, its success to look like, and you could tell because everyone's like, man, your manager just led you to 17 straight wins. They led you to the playoffs. They led you to the postseason, and you just fire them. I mean, my goodness, that's a little dramatic. No. That's called being cutthroat. That's called having expectations. That's called having a vision. That's called a good franchise. What's not a good franchise is a franchise who actually had expectations, who actually had a $160 million payroll, who actually had 3 MVP caliber players. I mean, Joey Votto, say what you want about, how bad he's been over the last couple of years. He had an MVP caliber season this year. Not a front runner, not a guy that I would say deserves to win it, but he deserves to be in the conversation between Joey Votto, Nick Castellanos, Jesse Winker. You look at the Rookie of the Year campaign that Jonathan India, who should get it for the National League, by the way. I love Jonathan India. You get that contribution right there. There was contributions all over the place. People want to focus on the negative. Every team has a negative, okay? You look at the Astros, great hitting, great power in that lineup. The back end of the bullpen, not very good, though. They have weaknesses. Their fans are saying, man, if our front office only gave us a bullpen. No, it's about the strengths. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to be annoyed about the fact that the Reds didn't have a bullpen, but at the end of the day, it is a situation that it comes down to. You got to be realistic enough to know that not every team is perfect. You got to look at what the Reds had and brought to the table. Okay. They had a solid rotation. They had a very good hitting lineup. They are not a World Series caliber team, but they were a playoff caliber team. And to be honest with you, the Brewers were more consistent, but I'm not convinced that the Brewers, top to bottom, are miles ahead, 20 games better than the Cincinnati Reds. I'm just not convinced of that. Now, the standings tell a different story, so I guess I have to be convinced of that. But you see what I'm saying. You can't tell me that so when you have a lineup that has a Joey Votto, a Nick Castellanos, a Jesse Winker, a Jonathan India, and so on, you cannot tell me that lineup, that team, that roster makeup, going up against the Pirates, who aren't even a Major League Baseball, who don't even have a Major League Baseball roster, going up against the Cubs in the second half, who blew up their entire roster. They don't have a lot of Major League Baseball players that are ready to play every day. You can't tell me that the Tigers and the Marlins and all of that roster going up against those teams, losing to those teams consistently, the Pirates would have killed to have a roster with Joey Votto, Nick Castellanos, Eugenio Suarez, and so on and so on. I know some of those guys didn't perform well, but you see my point. Those bad rosters would have killed for the Reds roster. And those bad rosters beat the Reds' good roster. That's the problem I have. And David Bell gets a 2-year extension while guys like Mike Shildt get the boot. While guys like the Padres manager get the boot. While Aaron Boone, who's won 90 games with the Yankees every year that he's been there, made the playoffs, possibly he's going to get the boot, or at least he's going to, all eyes are the hot seat is going to be so hot that he's not going to be able to sit heading into the 2022 season. Man, franchises that have a vision, that have a plan, kudos to them, because the Reds don't. Bringing back David Bell for that 2-year contract extension, what that said to me was, well, we might as well. Who else are we going to get? That just shows that they have no vision. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're going to do. That's what that screams to me. It's very frustrating. So to the comment section we go, and we're talking about, the changes in baseball as well with analytics. Ron Broadstock, Kev, says, I think Kev hit it on the head. Cincinnati's local media are homers. Well, Kev didn't say that, because I got to be careful. I'm not going to put Kev in that spot that he's calling out Cincinnati media saying that they're homers. But, he said that Homer's scared when the person who is accountable is in front of them. Kev didn't.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
He didn't verbally say that the media in Cincinnati are homers. Kev didn't say that. I'm going to say it. Here's why. Hal McCoy, I love Hal McCoy so much, because I'll never forget one of the first couple times I interviewed him, how just open he was. He would be critical. He would call it down the middle. He wouldn't sugarcoat it. And I'm like, this is nice. And then I'm following a lot of the reporters on Twitter that follow the Reds, that cover the Reds, and it's amazing to me. They could lose 10-0, and they're going to tweet out, "Oh man, but how about the inning and a half from so and so that came in and didn't give up a hit for an inning and a half?" I'm like, that's what your takeaway is of this game. They do that because, and you know what? These owners of these franchises, they know that the way these reporters make money is access. So what do they hang over their head? Access.
Right.
And that's the thing. These owners and these teams, they know that they have that leverage over these guys. And if you don't write something nice, Hal McCoy has shared, and he's done it publicly on the show, so I'm not revealing anything that, isn't out there. The Castellanis and him, they don't exchange Christmas cards, as Schlemmer always says. Castellini's not a fan of the old Hall of Famer Hal McCoy. And that used to be how you could tell who the real reporters were and the bad ones were, because the real reporters didn't have a problem writing about how bad a team is performing or how good a team is performing, but calling it down the middle. That was Hal McCoy. The reporters are never going to put pressure on the Reds in Cincinnati. They just won't. They are more interested in access to the players so that when they see them, they could take selfies with them in spring training and they could show their fan base of, man, this guy has to be a good, credible reporter because, look, he's taking a picture right now. He's hanging out with Jonathan India. Like that stuff, and by the way, Hal McCoy, super close with Pete Rose. In fact, was super close with Pete Rose coming up. But you know what Hal McCoy had the cojones to do? Literally go at Pete Rose and document everything that Pete Rose did wrong during that stretch in 1989. Hal shared how those two didn't speak for the longest time because of it, because Hal was a professional. Hal McCoy reported on the team, good and bad. Hal McCoy did not try to separate, oh man, the Reds are a great organization, they should not be penalized for Pete Rose's transgressions. He called it down the middle. And that's what I love about Hal McCoy. And there's not enough Hal McCoys in the world today who cover the game the way it should be. And not just baseball. That's all sports.
Right.
That's all sports. I mean, I watch reporters that cover the Bengals and that cover the Browns, and they get super defensive of fans who criticize their teams. When I watched it the other day, I'm not going to call out the reporter because, I know a lot of these guys, but I'm just amazed at how defensive these reporters of the Bengals and Browns get when fans criticize the players. And then I'm watching reporters today that actually tag players in their tweets and they're like, oh, I bet so-and-so would enjoy this recipe right here. And I'm like, really? That's what are you doing? Like that. And again, who am I to call someone out for that? And maybe it's jealousy on my part. Maybe Kidder wants to be friends with these Bengals players. Well, maybe not the Bengals players, but the Browns. But maybe it's jealousy on Kidder's part. I don't know what it is, but it's uncomfortable. Reporters are more about the rah-rah, happy-go-lucky stuff instead of doing their job and calling it down the middle. It drives me up the wall. And they're not doing their franchises, the franchises they cover, they're not doing them any favors by protecting them. Because when you protect them, they don't have to answer for a lot of things. And I can't tell you the last time the Reds had to answer for anything. So there you go. Now, someone just said, well, Justin, you have the power to get them on your show. Yes. And when they find out that I'm going to ask X, Y, and Z, guess who won't do my show? There's a certain example of that here in town. I don't dislike the certain team here in town. They think I don't like them, but there's a certain coach that won't do the show because I don't sit there and say that when they're not winning games that they are great. And for whatever reason, pointing out the obvious is a sin in this city. I have no clue why. I mean, it's like unless you fall in line with all the reporters that cover the Flyers and tell them how great they are, then if you don't do that, then you are no good to them. And they're going to say, well, then you don't have access to it. And that's totally fine. So it drives me crazy. I believe that reporters have a responsibility to be critical or to at least show a little bit of criticism in the reporting about the bad of some of these programs, not college-wise too, but even the pro teams. The Reds are protected. Because nationally, no one cares around the country. Well, Reds, they're bad. Who cares? No one cares. No one cares. The people that could put the pressure on them to force them to answer for some of these decisions, they're too busy worried about their access to spring training. They're too busy worried about access to the clubhouse or to the Zoom calls now with these players. That's the problem I have, is I do believe media plays a role in that. It's a small role, but because the media won't go at these teams and hold them accountable, it's not, they feel like they don't have to answer for it. We'll give David Bell a 2-year extension because C. Trent and those guys, they'll write up about how great David Bell, who's a 500 manager, they'll write up how great he is. They won't question why we're doing that while everyone else is firing their managers, but for not living up to expectations. We'll go do Reds Fest. We'll go do Caravan. We'll head into spring training. Rah, rah, we're awesome. And then reality kicks in by the end of April. It's the same thing every year.
In today's media, there's two sides. It's that side that you're talking about, because let's keep it real, access pays the bills. And, it is what it is. Everybody got to keep their lights on. You have that aspect of it, and then you have the sensationalized aspect of it. You're right. The down the middle stuff really doesn't happen anymore. It's either you're shumming up to the organization and the players, or you're bashing the organization and the players. Just to call it down the middle, that type of media really doesn't exist anymore, and that may be just the way media is nowadays, because part of the thing is a lot of athletes feel like their stories are being twisted when they're done by quote unquote reporters. That's why they have, their own social media accounts. They have the Players Tribune and those things of that nature, to voice their opinions in their own words and everything like that. So in turn, the reporters that do have access, they're feeling like, hey man, I can't be shut out. Because if I'm shut out, all they'll do is go to the Players Tribune and they'll put out their own stories. This way, I'm able to still put out stories about the team, about the players and everything like that. But you're right. I deal with that same situation on Hot 102.9. This was not a while. Yeah, it was quite a while ago. Kevin Hart, he had a show at the Nutter Center coming up, and he called in to do an interview and everything like that. And before the interview started, a PR person came on there and said, hey, we're not going to be answering questions about X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, can I say this to make sure he says, hey, I'm not answering that type of stuff to cover myself? Because let's keep it real. The people that are listening to this interview want to know what he's going to say about that. And then they hang on. They came back on like, yeah, but make sure you just say it like that. Don't like jab at it. So I did it. I was like, hey, Kev, people want to know about this. You got anything to say about that? No, I'm gonna and kept moving. But as a reporter or media, whatever person, you have to do that because that's what the people want to know. And the people want to know, well, at least a segment of the population that root for the Reds want to know, why are some of these decisions being made? What's the logic behind that? What are you guys doing? Is David Bell really the manager, or is he just a face? Because I don't really, if he's just a face, I can't even knock him for it. It's what, 30 teams in MLB? It's only 30 of those jobs. You better go find another job paying the money that he's getting paid to do that. I mean, are they paying him to take the Kenner bashing every day? Is that the job description? I don't know, because I probably would take it. How much are you getting paid now with this 2-year extension? Couple M's?
I look at the total.
I mean, let's keep it real, man. That's how it goes. There's only 30 of these jobs. There's only 30 of them. And the retread thing, there's only a couple guys that really get multiple opportunities in baseball over and over again. Like Dusty Baker, he seems to always get another opportunity and everything like that. So when you get one, you want to keep it because there's only 30 of them.
Yeah, and I think that this trend started with obviously social media regarding, like, when I've heard Hal share stories, I mean, even going back to Marge Schott and everything, like, the bumped heads
the
there.
Great Marge Schott.
Bumped heads there because Hal was not, Hal wasn't in the terms of a reporter, wasn't a shock jock reporter. I know that's more used for radio or whatever, but he wasn't just doing things for, nowadays everything's for clicks. Oh, you're just doing that for clicks, which is pretty ironic. I love when people tell me, oh, you're just saying that for ratings. You're just saying that for clicks. Well, I think in my contract, it does say to put out content that people will care about or react to. I don't think that they say put out content that nobody will click on. Don't talk about things that nobody wants to listen to. I think that I would not be doing my job if I was doing it differently. But back before social media, there was a little bit like that. You had to rely on the reporters because that was the only way content got out there. It was the newspaper. And now with social media and everything else, they can control, their social media team can technically control a lot of the coverage on the team, because I can't think of any reporters. I can't tell you the last time I saw a headline from a reporter covering the Bengals, the Browns, anybody that was negative. That was questioning the team's direction. And I'm not talking about a headline that says Reds lose a heartbreaker. Oh, edgy. I'm talking about, not just big question marks heading into off season, but like what is the direction of the front office? What are they doing? Because I feel bad because I'm just sitting here beating up on David Bell. David Bell, if they offered me the job, I would take the job. Anybody would take the job.
Right.
I never get mad at anybody who accepts the job. It reminds me of that Tim Tebow thing. People were getting mad at Tim Tebow when Urban Meyer gave him the invite to camp. If I'm Tim Tebow, of course I'm taking that invite. We all would. But the anger started being redirected towards Urban for saying, why would you give him that invite? Okay, fine. Get mad at the person who made the invite. Don't get mad at the person who accepted it. So I'm not mad at David Bell for accepting the 2-year extension. Good for him. Good for him. He is not the worst manager in baseball. Okay, but he's the manager of the Reds, the team I follow. So all my opinions are based on how things are going there. A long rant. But yeah, social media. is basically when teams started really restricting, trying to control the narrative a little bit more because there was more options. Back then, they couldn't restrict the narrative because the only way to get anything out about your team was the newspaper.
Right.
Now on social media, whether it's a radio host or whether it's this, like here in town, Kinner doesn't say too many nice things about the Flyers, so we're not going to let him talk to our basketball coach. Okay, that's cool. That's super. But we have this reporter over here who will talk all these great things about us no matter what happens. Outside of the Obi year, we haven't made the NCAA. Obi, they would have been a top seed in the NCAA tournament. There's no doubt about it. But there's never any talk about, hey, is there a hot seat at all for the head coach who replaced Archie Miller, who Archie Miller had the program rocking? You're supposed to get them to the NCAA tournament every year. Probably not going to make it this upcoming season. There's no question marks. There's no anything like that to put the program in a spot that people are questioning. It's always rah, 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 rah. They could be in the A10 preseason poll if they're projected to finish third to last. It'll be, Flyers aim to prove everybody wrong. Flyers have too much talent to be put down there and all that stuff. More power to you. But you have to do it that way because they'll restrict access, because if not, they'll tell the reporters that cover the Flyers, you can't come cover UD basketball anymore. We'll just have Johnny, the intern, just continue putting out positive articles that we'll just tweet out on our social media accounts, and then we'll control the narrative that way. Oh, Kenner, you actually questioned why we do things a certain way, and you actually turned the heat on us a little bit. Okay, cool. We just won't work with you. We won't deal with you. We won't give you access to our team. We won't give you access to our coach. We used to sit you real close to the floor. Now we're going to bury you up in the nosebleeds and the 300s and all that. Hey, at least I don't have to pay thousands of dollars like everybody else that sits up there. I'm not salty, but it's not like I don't notice it. And that's the thing. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not making up the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm going on this long rant that started with David Bell, and now I'm just taking everyone out with me. Look. The bottom line is I just hate when teams like that abuse their power to control a narrative, and that's what drives me nuts. No one wants anyone talking bad about them, but you know what? I do a show every day from 3 to 6, Kev. I make a living with people talking bad about me every single day. I can handle it.
I'm here with you.
Yep. All right.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, exactly. Shaw's he's putting the blood pressure pills down there, so there we go. Aye. All right, we'll take a breather, literally. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Introducing the latest innovation in water technology. The new Nebbia by Moen Quattro Showerhead offers 4 unique experiences to choose from, designed to soothe, clarify, relieve, and cleanse. An indulgent shower experience engineered to use up to 50% less water. Water designs our life. Who designs for water? Visit Moen.com to learn more.
JCPenney's fall mystery sale is here. How much will you save? Hurry in store to find out. You could get an extra 30, 40, or even an extra 50% off Thursday through Sunday with Peel and Reveal coupon while supplies last. And with your surprise savings, you can easily refresh your closet and home. New fall styles, great fall savings. JCPenney. Coupon valid through 10/17. Some exclusions apply. Coupon giveaway in store only while supplies last. Must be 18 or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
Oh, yeah.
Frickin' football is here. Frickers has the games on all the screens and you score with savings. Enjoy your favorite ice cold domestic draft personal pictures for only $6.50. A 48-ounce personal picture for only $6.50. And enjoy a plate of your favorite frickin' nachos for just $7. Take your frickin' pick. Frickin' chicken nachos, Mississippi barbecue nachos, or Nacho Supreme, only $7. This season, don't just be a football fan, be a Nacho fan. At the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 for reliable Lennox products that can make the air in your home absolutely perfect. Ohio license number 14911.
Now at Lowe's, order any flooring like Stainmaster Pet Protect carpet, starting at $185 per square foot. See in-store associate or product detail page for warranty information.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local. What are you gonna miss? He struck him out. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So it's funny, I said earlier, I deal with criticism every day. Well, I think it was, let me see this guy, Nolan Russell says, he goes, I don't know if you handle it all that well, LOL, talking about the criticism. I said, actually, I handle the criticism very well. I don't block people on social media. There are guys that come at me daily that try to bait me out, that try to get me ticked off, that try to do whatever they can to get under my skin. I see people all the time, oh, I'll block you. I have no problem blocking you. I'll block him. I ain't going to block anybody. I act the way I do. And I'm not going to change. But I know that the way I act is going to bring out those type of people. So I can't get mad when I act the way I do. And then when I get the reaction that I'm accustomed to getting, I can't be shocked when that happens. So I'm not going to block people. I'm not going to block people unless you say something about my family or whatever. You can attack me. You can attack my sports teams. You can attack whatever. But no, I handle it very well. There are a lot of soft people who won't even have a hard opinion on something because they're afraid that they might get criticized, or that they might be afraid because I've known radio hosts that if somebody says, that they're so terrified about the reaction that they will just be they won't have an opinion on anything. They'll just say, well, I really like this, but I could also see how this could play a role in that too. But I don't know. No, have an opinion, because when the mic's off, I have an opinion when you and I are talking about stuff.
Right.
I just try to be who I am every day, which is why I'm just as disliked on the air as I am off the air. So there you go.
At the end of the day, man, we're paid to have an opinion. Like literally, like if we got on here and him and Hall don't have an opinion about anything, then we wouldn't be working too long. That's the reality of the situation. And to be perfectly honest, like doing this show with you has brought that out of me more to have an opinion, because a lot of things that go on in sports, I don't have an opinion on. Like, I have an opinion about what happens on the field of play, but like the social media stuff, the extra stuff that I could care nothing about, I don't have an opinion on because I just don't care. But I have to have an opinion. I had to find my opinion about it and find a tangible way to talk about a subject to be entertaining for people to listen, because if people ain't listening, we don't have a job.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And the one thing that listeners, by the way, without the listeners, we don't have a show.
Facts.
But like,
we appreciate
what drives me nuts, and this is why I would fail in like working in the restaurant industry or any customer service. I mean, this is technically customer service, but I do not believe that the customer's always right. I remember in college, I had a part-time job at a retail store and once at a restaurant. They're like, well, remember, the customer's always right. I'm like, the customer's not always right. I don't care what anybody says. Sometimes it is okay to look at a customer and say, you're being an a-hole. You are not right now. Like, that's what that drives me nuts. Like, it's that, in like continuing to let people act a certain way. Like, you know, they could talk to you however they want because they're the customer. No. Oh, they could talk to me however they want because they're the listener. They can talk to me however they want, but I'm going to give it back to them. And then what my favorite thing is when they come at me and then when I go at them, oh, real professional. So there you go. You want to know what the petty thing I do is?
Oh, boy.
When people get real personal with me, I'll check their account to see where they work, and then I'll go tag their work in their social media, a little rant column. It's real petty, but I'm just saying, like, it is what. Would you expect anything less from O'Kinner over here?
That's definitely your style.
Yep, there you go. All right, so you said you had something. You said you had something for me regarding the big noon kickoff. For those of you, look, Ohio State's kicking. They have a bye week this Saturday. They had a primetime night game under the lights against Akron. I was at that game a few weeks ago. It was awesome. It was nice going to a game. We had affordable tickets to go to a night game. How cool is that, right? Every time Ohio State plays under the lights, it's usually a big opponent. You can't afford those tickets. I know I can't. And it's insane. Well, I loved going to that game under the lights. It was pretty neat, but let's be honest. I enjoyed the atmosphere of just being at the shoe at night, but I'm like watching the team that Ohio State's playing. I'm like, Akron has no business getting a night game in the shoe. Indiana has no business getting a primetime night game in 2 weeks, but they're going to get that because Ohio State, they have to play some night games. ESPN's desperate to get them on at night somehow, but they're never going to get Ohio State against Oregon or Texas or Notre Dame or whatever series they have coming up around the corner. They're never going to get those because they're going to be big noon kickoff games. I hate it. So I hate the big noon kickoff because as a result, we end up with Akron and Indiana, Ohio State playing those teams under the lights. Now, Indiana's at Indiana, but it's just the point that I hate that. I'm not a fan of the big noon kickoff. To me, there's just something special about the build to that. All day, you watch football all day long, and it's like when I watched the Fury Wilder fight the other day. All the fights on the undercard, those guys are all paying their dues. They're working their way up that card. They're trying to establish themselves as primetime guys or whatever. But imagine if Fury Wilder opened up the fight. Imagine if Fury Wilder opened up the fight. Everyone, like, they try to trick everybody, say, hey, listen, we have more viewers earlier in the night, so we're going to put Fury Wilder as the opening match because everyone's going to be watching at that point, which technically wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, but they put it at the end of the night because they build and they build and they build. But Fox tries to do this cute little branding thing of the big noon kickoff, or we have more viewers at noon than everybody else, and that's because no one's going to watch your station or no one's going to watch your channel later at night because all the good games are over here. So it's a good business decision on their part, but it doesn't mean it's just like baseball. There's a lot of things that baseball does that make sense from an analytical standpoint, but it doesn't mean that it's helping the game. Analytics say pitch your starting pitcher less because it's what's best for the to give yourself a chance to win. That's not good for the viewer. It's not good for the viewer that you get to see less of the stars in baseball. The analytics show, hey, put the best game at noon because that's when we have most of our viewers that would be accessible to be able to view this game. Well, that may be what's best for you, but is it what's best for the viewers who get a more enjoyment out of watching it at night? And because Kinner views it that way, I'm speaking on everyone because, I'm selfish that way. But so you have something about the big noon kickoff. You know how salty I am about it.
Yes, there's hope for you yet for this Penn State game. So on October 30th, Ohio State plays Penn State. But before that, Ohio State has Indiana on the 23rd. Penn State has Illinois on the 23rd. But that's not the hot stuff. The hot stuff is this. Michigan State has Indiana this Saturday. Michigan has Northwestern the 23rd. both teams are currently undefeated. If both of those teams are undefeated, that will be the big noon kickoff game.
You think Michigan State will be the big noon kickoff?
Yes.
All right. If this was the Dan Le Batard show, I'd say put it on the poll.
So, granted, all those teams have to win their games. Hopefully, Michigan State handles business versus Indiana. Hopefully, Michigan handles business versus Northwestern on the 23rd. So then on the 30th, that will be the big noon kickoff. So that will bump the Penn State-Ohio State game on the 30th probably to 4 o'clock.
All right, so let's throw this out there. We're live on Facebook, The Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Go there. Follow us on Twitter, too, at Kev Nash. Kev Nash on Twitter, at 1410 Kinner, KINNER on Twitter. So in 2 weeks, so I'm mad about the Indiana-Ohio State game being a primetime game, but they have to do that because ESPN's they're clamoring to get Ohio State at night, but they can't because all the big Ohio State matchups get put on the big noon kickoff. But in a couple of weeks, when Ohio State plays Penn State, I said that, oh man, because the big noon kickoff, what you end up getting is Akron and Indiana against Ohio State at night, while teams like Oregon and Penn State get slapped on the big noon kickoff. But Kev just revealed that same day, you could potentially have undefeated Michigan against undefeated Michigan State. Which one do you think deserves to be the primetime game? 2 undefeated top 10 teams or 2 one-loss top 10 teams, Ohio State and Penn State? It's really going to come down to, I just think that Ohio State, even with the loss, gives the edge to the Ohio State-Penn State matchup when it comes to that big noon kickoff. I still think, Kev, Ohio State, Penn State, I still think the network picks them as the big noon kickoff. I like what you had to say, though, because it does mean there's a chance Ohio State. There's a chance. State. I would say
there's a chance it may be dark by the time that game is still played.
That is true. All right, we'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Oh, look, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
We've been expecting you.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low near 66. And tomorrow will be cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 82. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
When you needed your mom, she was always there with the Vicks Vapor Rub. She used that soothing scent to calm you. And her mom used it to calm her. And her mom, well, you get the idea. Vicks Vapor Rub's always been there. It always made you feel better. And today, it still does. Bring back those childhood memories with the comfort and care only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, family tradition for a reason.
Hello, everyone. It's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Call me today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Don't miss USA's new shoppable live competition series. Entrepreneurs pitch new products that you can buy live. And whoever sells the most gets a chance at a life-changing deal with one of America's biggest retail giants. Shop live and decide whose dreams come true on America's Big Deal, a shoppable live competition series. Live tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on USA Network.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook, but that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
The Meyer Distribution Center in Tip City is hiring for warehouse positions in all units. Includes flexible schedules, best-in-class benefits, starting wages up to $18.60, and $2,000 sign-on bonus. Candidates can apply online at jobs.meyer.com. Keyword search distribution. Location Tip City. Or call 937-669-9109. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Walk-in interviews are available with on-the-spot job offers. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call 937-669-9109. Meyer is an equal opportunity employer.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
Good night.
There's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
Panera believes in saying yes. Yes to clean, fresh ingredients. Yes to the new chicken sausage and pepperoni flatbread topped with rich mozzarella. Yes to delicious mac and cheese. Yes to putting it on a sandwich, creating the grilled mac and cheese sandwich. And yes to impromptu road trips to Sandwich, Illinois. Because that's living life to the flavor fullest. Get $1 delivery when you order on our app. Panera. Live your yes. Pricing and product availability may vary. Visit PaneraBread.com.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Takeback Day, October 23rd. Visit DEATakeback.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Our Glacier Softwater High School football game of the week. This coming up Friday night, the Springfield Wildcats at the Miamisburg Vikings. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and myself will be live in Miamisburg calling all the action. Week 9 of the high school football season is officially upon us again. Once more, the Miamisburg Vikings welcoming in the Springfield Wildcats this coming up Friday night, tomorrow night at that. I said this Friday night like it's a couple days away. It's already Thursday. I thought the week started slow, Kev, and then the next thing I know, I'm looking up. I'm like, oh, man, tomorrow's already Friday. Like, it's unbelievable. No Ohio State football this weekend. The Buckeyes on a bye week. They will be back in action in prime time a week from Saturday as they take on Indiana. And then, of course, Penn State coming up here in the near future as well. So, everyone knows I'm not a big fan of the noon kickoff. I mean, like, the matchups are great. Like, Ohio State, Oregon, great matchup. It's not like the game isn't good. I'm just saying, like, anytime there's a chance to, for me, I just think games under the lights feel bigger. No one, like all these kids playing on Friday nights. I don't think you'll talk to one kid, Tayshaun Smoot, Springfield, look all the Anthony Brown over at Wayne. You talk to all these guys who are going to potentially be playing on Saturdays one day. I don't think any one of those kids, Jackson McGowan from Miamisburg, excited to call his game tomorrow. You talk to all these kids who are getting these D1 offers. None of them are going to say, man, I've always dreamed of playing under the sun at noon on Saturdays. Like, they can't wait to play under the lights, man. Like, they want to, like, I'm just saying. So, coming up in a few weeks on October 30th, the same date that Ohio State plays Penn State, there's I'm assuming that would be the Big Ten or the big noon kickoff. But as Kev pointed out, that's also a matchup that there's a matchup that day that I don't think we would have circled heading into the season. Michigan State. I don't think anyone anticipated both of those teams being undefeated at this point. They still have to get through this week before
don't blow it.
But like Michigan State, there's 5 top 10 teams out of the Big Ten right now, currently in the latest rankings. Those are 2 of them. They're undefeated, top 10 teams in the playoff hunt. You believe that'll be the big noon kickoff on October 30th. I believe it's still Ohio State, Penn State. So Nick on Facebook, David Shaw on Facebook says Michigan versus Michigan State will be the big noon kickoff. Ohio State, Penn State game will be 7:30 on ABC. Nick says Fox will he agrees, Michigan State, that team up north no, he does not. He says they'll put Michigan State at 4, just like they did Iowa. In Penn State, now Lamar Shelley on Facebook. Again, we're live on Facebook. This is how you could be a part of the conversation. Jump in, chime in, let your opinion be heard. Lamar Shelley says, would local listings impact the games viewed? I can't imagine Ohio State getting bumped in any manner, honestly. So as far as that, from I don't know if he means the big noon kickoff right now. I'm not really sure. But the point is I just feel like it's all about the brand, baby. Ohio State's brand is bigger than everybody's. And what's crazy, the battle of 2 one-loss teams feels like a battle for the playoffs more than the battle of 2 undefeated teams. It's very strange. You can't go wrong with either in the big noon kickoff. But if I'm Fox, you have Michigan State, both undefeated, both top 10. I'm still looking at that Ohio State, Penn State matchup saying that's the better one. But it's a win-win either way for that network. But
I do need. Yeah. Okay, so it's at Michigan State, by the way. So I feel you. I just think I know the fair thing isn't like really a rational point, but like both teams undefeated, I think they deserve that stage that the big noon kickoff is developing. I think they deserve that stage. I think that their fan base deserves that stage. Both teams' fan bases deserve that stage to have all the hype going into it. And then, there's no way that Penn State, Ohio State is going to be the 7:30 game on ABC. There's no way that Fox is going to let that game slip past their 4:00 window. They're going to snag that one up. They're going to dominate the entire day, just like they did last week with the Oklahoma and Texas game. And then they had the 4:00 game with Iowa and Penn State. That I was locked in on Fox until the 8:00 games. I didn't change the channel because this was the good game that was going on. So like, that's how you got to do it. That's how you got to play it. Either way you do it, if you put Ohio State and Penn State on at noon and then Michigan State on at 4:30, that's what they're going to do. It's just a matter of how they're going to flip it. But I think that Michigan State will be the big noon kickoff game, and then Ohio State, Penn State, the 4:00 game, and fingers crossed for tickets.
You know how I know you're wrong?
Uh-oh.
Because you and Shaw have the same opinion. So Shaw believes that...
No, he said something about ABC getting the Ohio State, Penn State game. That ain't going to happen.
So he said rivalry game. Well, let me do this dramatic little thing. This is Shaw. Shaw says, Michigan State, it's a rivalry game. Both schools want that game played at noon. Both schools don't deserve to get to pick anything. They're lucky that they're even at the I've never seen a situation where you have 2 undefeated top 10 teams that still feel irrelevant. Like, that's how I feel about Michigan State. Penn State, Ohio State, 2 one-loss teams. They actually look like the real playoff contenders out of the Big Ten, and they each have a loss right now. Like, I disagree, Shaw. Like, I mean, I agree that they may want it, but I still think that if I'm Fox, and here I am clamoring that they should get Ohio State, Penn State, because I don't want them to have Ohio State, Penn State. But that's how adamant I am that I have to disagree with everything Shaw says, apparently, or he has to disagree with everything I say, however you want to look at it. But at the end of the day, I don't care if it's a rivalry game. I don't care about any of that stuff. It's just, for whatever reason, I've never experienced this where you have 2 undefeated top 10 teams, but yet I'm looking at that saying, I just don't buy it. I don't buy Michigan as a playoff team or Michigan State. Good stories, but the real playoff contenders, the real big dogs are Ohio State, Penn State. That's just how I view it. And of course, everything I say is right. Everything everyone else says is wrong because it's Kinner's world and you are all just living in it. So there you go. They can't go wrong either way. But I just feel like Ohio State, Penn State, there's just something more to it. As I feel like it's a playoff game. Michigan State, it's just it's not even a rivalry that people care about across the country. They care about it. But I don't think it's a rivalry that people care about across the country. I believe Ohio State, Penn State, that is the big rivalry out of the Big Ten right now. I know Ohio State, Michigan, all you diehards are losing your minds right now. But look, I don't get it. I get more juice to watch Ohio State, Penn State than I do watching Ohio State, Michigan. But that's just because that's Michigan's fault. Blame them because they're the ones that have sucked so bad lately that they're not even worth me talking about half the time unless I'm making fun of them.
One thing I don't like about the big noon kickoff is when was it? Yeah, the Oregon game that we lost. Great times. I sparked up the grill like at 11 in the morning. It was like doing like a house tailgate and everything like that. And I really didn't intend on like drinking. I just had a couple, adult beverages and some seltzers and a beer. And then the game just wasn't going our way. So then I had to break out the real liquor. And I'm thinking to myself around, 3:00, like, hey, man, I'm buzzing right now. And then we had plans to go somewhere later on that day. And both of us, by the end of the game, we're both drunk on the couch and said, we can't leave the house because we're drunk.
Just don't get caught.
So that's the thing about the big noon kickoff. It's like, hey, man, if you're doing this house thing, you're not going to be able to leave the house. Because I had to stay in the house the entire day because I got drunk way too early in the day.
Uber. Yes. 518-1410. Kev, who we got?
We got Nick.
Nick, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not too much.
Hey, while you're on the topic of TV schedules, I was just curious, depending on how things pan out over the next couple of weeks, do you think that the Bengals and the Browns game could get flexed prime time?
I hope so. I'm going to that game. My fiance is getting me tickets for that for my birthday. I am kind of terrified. I don't know if I'm going to wear a Browns jersey or
man up.
I might not wear anything that indicates the fan that I am of the team because I've heard some crazy things about the weird Bengals fans. It should be right. Like if Cincinnati wins this week, they'd be 4-2. The Browns win this week, a win over the Cardinals. I mean, that would be huge. I know they still got games after that, but the problem is I think that if the Bengals win this week and they lose an ugly one to the Ravens, I just don't know how tempting that would be. But if they get to these next couple weeks, Browns, Bengals, both unscathed, I could see that being a game that is more of interest come that point.
Well, and really, yeah. I mean, I was thinking even depending on, like I said, what happens over the next couple of weeks, any of our interdivision games between those three, I think, could theoretically get flexed. I mean, the Browns, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Bengals, Ravens.
Week 9.
Okay, so according to the NFL's website, the NFL starts flexing games week 11.
Okay, so we won't know. So that's a 1 p.m. kick and all that. Like, I love when the Browns-Bengals play earlier in the year because then they don't play again until a few weeks later. And I'm like, I always hate at this point, but both teams are just really banged up. I just want a fully healthy Browns, fully healthy Bengals team. I don't want no excuses when the Browns beat the Bengals in a few weeks. I want no excuses.
We're still on for purple hair, right?
We're still what? Was this you? Are you the purple hair guy?
Rapino.
Yeah.
All right. So for those that don't know, some guy, I told you earlier about the criticism I get all the time. Some guy made him so angry about my Bengals conversation that day. He said, I hate you, I hate your show, and I hate your Megan Rapinoe haircut. So now the bet was placed that if the Bengals beat the Browns, I have to color my hair purple like Megan Rapinoe. So there you go. That's how confident I am that the Browns will beat the Bengals. Sure, why not? Purple it up, baby.
All right, cool.
Adios.
You guys have a good one.
You later. Cool. Just making sure.
Remember, I don't know who it was. A few weeks ago, I was arguing with somebody, and they, instead of coming back at me with whatever, they put her hair on my head. I'm like, that's what they literally took time out of their day to Photoshop Megan Rapinoe's hair on my head, or just shade it purple, I guess, in the eyes of most. But yeah. David Shaw says Devin Bush tearing up the Sparty helmet before the game was big noon kickoff. Michigan versus Sparty will be big noon kickoff. And I say big deal.
That was a moment. That was a good moment.
It's cute. It's adorable.
Hey, tell them to get healthy for my Pittsburgh Steelers. We need them.
Mm-hmm. Jake White, the Trey Flowers, the cornerback for the Seahawks, traded to the Bengals. Right now, Trey Waynes again. Jake Whiting, appreciate that. So Jake earlier said that when we were talking Reds earlier, talking about Trey Waynes, he said, that Moustakas is the Trey Waynes of the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, they can't stay healthy. Waynes finally comes back, another hamstring issue. He's out for a while. So there you go. Whiting also says, where are you sitting? I'm going to sit right next to you. I ain't sitting next to no Bengals fans. I got to find the Cleveland Browns section. That's what I got to find right there. So is there a Browns section at the Bengals game? I don't know.
Yeah, the bathrooms.
Yeah. Holy moly. All right. 518-1410, that's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation, whatever that conversation is. I have no idea. But yes, I need the Browns and Bengals both to get healthy. So, the Browns are pretty beat up. I mean, right now there's COVID issues with the Cardinals. Cardinals, the only remaining undefeated team left in the National Football League. Cardinals is coming up weekend. And then, of course, the Bengals, 3-point favorites against the Lions. Now, I don't view myself as a Bengals hater. I call myself that because that's what you guys have deemed me. But I'm going to take my imaginary Bengals cap off when I say this. Okay, for those of you watching, look, I'm taking it off. Now you see the Megan Rapinoe here. I put that helmet down. Bengals fans, I need you to listen and pay attention. And I think you'll agree. If you are not worried about the Lions this coming up weekend, you're fooling yourself. I know the Lions haven't won a football game. I get that. But we've joked that the Lions are the best, worst team of all time. They're kind of like the Steelers last year at 11-0 when we would say that they are they were the worst undefeated team of all time 11 weeks into the season. I know we're only 5 weeks into the season, but I look at the Lions as the best bad team of all time. Like, they're so competitive. They play so hard for their goofy coach. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not picking the Lions. Yeah, actually, I don't know. I haven't made my picks yet. I'm on the fence on this. I know if I pick the Lions, everyone's just going to chalk it up to me being a hater, but Bengals fans, pay attention. Like, that team they worry me a bit. Kev, we've talked about them every week. Every week yes. I finally put them in my bottom 5 because I said that at this point you can't be 0-5 and not be in my NFL bottom 5. But right. I've always kept them out because I said they're just too dang competitive. There's teams that have won 1 or 2 games at this point that I don't find that competitive, and they have wins, so we keep them out of the bottom 5. But, I just look at the Lions. They're a scrappy bunch. They're going to hit you hard. They're banged up with injuries as well. I just find them semi-interesting for a bad team, Kevin. If the Bengals aren't careful, I think that they can get tripped up. This is the ultimate trap game. The Detroit Lions are the ultimate trap game. You got your 0-5 opponent. You're the head coach bawling in press conferences earlier in the week because they're losing. They're losing heartbreakers. They're losing games that they should win, or at least be in position to win. They're not your typical 0-5 team. And the Bengals aren't your typical 3-2 team or whatever either. Like, I don't think that they are as good as what people think they are. And I don't think that the Lions are as bad as what people think they are. The Bengals have to be careful. You have the Ravens coming up. The Bengals are begging to get the respect around the country when it comes to this Cincinnati Bengals team. Everyone has chalked this season up to just it's a progression year. Let's see Burrow, stay healthy for a full year. Let's see that O-line gel together. Let's, see Mixon get healthy. Let's see what Frank Pollack could do with that offensive line. Let's see how much, put $200+ million on that defense the last 2 off seasons. Let's see that. We've seen stints of all that, but statistically, the Bengals are just slightly below average. They're not a great passing team. They're not a great rushing team. They're not a great defense. They don't do anything really well. But they win games, and that's all you can ask for. They are also playing hard for their head coach and Zach Taylor, who I'm not a big fan of, but as long as they're playing hard for him and they're in every game, that's all you can ask for. But they want to beat the Ravens. They're looking at the Ravens. They're watching Lamar and the Ravens dominate. And, the Bengals just lost an overtime game against the Green Bay Packers, a game that had they won, that they probably should have won. The door was open for them to win on multiple occasions, but they lost. But had they won that game, the Bengals would have arrived in the eyes of most. They would have been on everybody's radar. They missed that opportunity. They're looking at their next opportunity. And the vibe I'm getting is I don't think that the Bengals look at the Lions as their next opportunity. They're looking at the Ravens as their next opportunity.
Dangerous game.
The problem with that, you got a scrappy 0-5 team that's not your typical 0-5 team. Kev, if there was ever a example of a trap game, this is the exact definition of a trap game. The Bengals have to be careful. They're a 3-point favorite on the road at Detroit, but man, it's real tempting to take Detroit in this one, but I know I'll just be called a hater, but there's a lot of reasons why you should be weary about this Lions-Bengals matchup this Sunday.
Absolutely, because they're going to get somebody.
Mhm.
They're going to get somebody. They're playing way too hard. Like some of these last-second losses, obviously last week to the Vikings had a last-second loss. The 66-yard field goal by Justin Tucker with the Ravens and everything like that. They down huge to the 49ers in opening week, and then they stormed back to have an opportunity to tie the game on the last drive of the game. So, like, they're not quitting. So, like, that's very dangerous. So, like, this isn't a gimme. So you better bring your A game because they're going to come to play. They're going to come to play the whole 60. So Bengals fans, like, I can only do so much. I can only do so much on this show to help y'all out because I'm not even a Bengals fan. But y'all lose this game, and I know y'all not the ones playing, your team's playing. But if the Bengals lose this game, I'm not going to have any ammunition. I'm not going to have anything to be able to stop him from going in on y'all. So y'all better get down on your knees.
Kev. Hold me back.
And pray to whoever you pray to that they don't lose to the Detroit Lions because Detroit is going to get somebody. Y'all just hope it ain't y'all. Y'all hope they get the Rams or the Browns in November or something like that, or the Steelers in November. Y'all just hope that. But y'all got to hope that it ain't y'all because you don't want that smoke come Monday.
All right. Injury is going to play a big role in this matchup as well, not just for the Bengals, injuries on the Lions side as well. But when we come back, Paul Dehner Jr. released the Cincinnati Bengals, injury report that just came out of practice a little bit ago. Some star players who did not participate in practice this week. Some did. We'll talk about that. What injuries should you be concerned about heading into this matchup with the Lions here in week 6? We'll step away for a few moments. I'll have that injury report coming up for you for your Cincinnati Bengals on the other side. Again, not hating, but this is the ultimate example of a trap game because the Bengals, like, they are playing hard. They are improved. I can't deny that. But I think that with young teams, sometimes you could take your eye off the prize a little bit. And I think that they're looking ahead to the Ravens. They had a shot that they just missed against the Packers that had they won, they'd be 4-1 right at the top of the Ravens at the AFC North, looking down at the Browns and Steelers, which I know fans would get a huge kick out of had that happen. But it's, how fired up, how ramped up will they be for the Lions on Sunday when you have a streaking Ravens team the next week that the Bengals are saying, hey, that's our next chance to put everybody on notice. Well, everyone's going to notice if you lose to the Lions. This is a trap game, but we'll talk about the injury report when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with a purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today on Hey Culligan, why does your team stink? Here's Coach Waters.
Hey Culligan, yeah, my team stinks.
Ooh, harsh.
No, I mean they stink. They won't hit the showers because it makes their skin all dry and itchy.
Coach, it sounds like your guys have been hit hard by hard water.
You kidding me? Hard water?
Yep, so let's call an audible in the form of one Culligan Smart High Efficiency Water Softener to get the smooth back in their skin and the stink out of your team.
Okay, Culligan, I'm putting you in.
Coach, we're already on the way. Kick things off with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Give your sweetie the priceless gold box this year for Sweetest Day, or get a special pack box of those favorite pieces. Don't wait until the last minute, so come and visit us. Shop online at EstherPrice.com or contact any of the Esther Price Candy's 7 locations to place a curbside order for pickup. It only takes a minute to make that special someone smile when they see their gold box of their favorites. So don't forget and place your order today.
The Western Ohio Home Builders Association invites you to the Fall Parade of Homes, Saturday and Sunday, October 23rd and 24th, from noon to 4 p.m. each day. Presented by Minster Bank, this free event will feature 13 beautifully designed homes for you to tour throughout the northern Miami Valley. Visit our new virtual site to see additional home tours and some stunning remodels. Whether you're in the market to build your dream home or remodel the home you already love, you are sure to find it at the Fall Parade of Homes. Visit us at poh.westernohiohba.com.
Hello, I'm Clerk of Court Rob Scott, serving Kettering, Centerville, Moraine, and Washington Township. From October 18th to October 29th, you can come to Kettering Municipal Court and pay off half your fines and costs, and the other half will be waived. There is nothing to fear. Come pay off half your fee.
This is brought to you by Rob Scott, Clerk of Court.
Hi, this is Sales Manager Jason High of Germain Honda Beaver Creek, personally inviting you to take advantage of the 0% financing on the Honda HR-V, Passport, and Pilot. Germain Honda has over 200 new Hondas to choose from, including the redesigned 2021 Honda Ridgeline and the 2022 Honda Odyssey, plus over 30 of the brand new 2022 Honda Civics to choose from. Now that's a selection no one else in the region can claim. Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Lumber prices have plummeted, so now is the time to buy and get your outdoor projects done right with Menards. With the best selection of pressure-treated lumber and the inventory to back it up, now is the time to get that outdoor project you've been meaning to get to finished. Save 11% on all pressure-treated lumber at Menards. Good through Saturday, October 16th. Savings are mail-in rebates. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers here to tell you about OGW Energy Resources. If you own a home or a business and want to save money, then going solar with OGW Energy Resources is the way to go. OGW Energy Resources have been helping the Miami Valley save money by going solar for over 14 years. There is no better time than now to look into going solar. For more information, check out their website at ogwenergyresources.com. Go solar today. OGW Energy Resources. Your energy, your future. Control it.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
If you've got a small business, you know there's nothing more valuable than your time. So why waste it at the post office? Stamps.com makes it easy to mail and ship right from your computer. No special equipment required. Whether you're an office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. You'll even get exclusive discounts on postage and shipping from USPS and UPS. And their new Rate Advisor tool lets you compare shipping rates across carriers so you always find the best option. Save time and money with Stamps.com. There's no risk, and when you go to Stamps.com and use offer code FOCUS, you'll receive a 4-week free trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top and enter code FOCUS. That's Stamps.com, promo code FOCUS. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
Help DEA keep our community safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Takeback Day, October 23rd. Visit DEATakeback.com.
All right, welcome back. Bengals Lions, week 6 of the NFL. Kev Nash and I will have our NFL week 6 picks coming up here momentarily, just here around the corner as we head into hour number 3. So Paul Dehner Jr. revealed, and again, as most Bengals reporters have, the Cincinnati Bengals injury report, practice participation. So today, Joe Mixon and Deontay Smith, the guard for the Bengals, did not participate at all. No Joe Mixon, no Smith. Limited in practice today for the Bengals was Trey Hopkins and Mike Thomas. Of course, Trey Hopkins being the one that everyone's keeping an eye on. And then, as far as returning to practice full go, Joe Burrow did return to full practice today. Again, he had that throat contusion. Kev, yesterday on the show when you weren't here, I said, I've never even heard of that injury before. And then on Sunday, 2 players got it, in the Browns and the Bengals, Joe Burrow and then Koromoa. So never heard of that injury before, but on Sunday, 2 players on teams that we follow a lot here come away with that. But Joe Burrow was full go today. Darius Phillips returned back for the Bengals, and Quentin Spain did as well. Now, Paul Dehner Jr. did say that, this is something to worry about if you're the Bengals heading into this Lions matchup. It's bad news for the right guard position. We talked about Deontay Smith. He did not practice after being limited with the knee on Wednesday. So keep in mind, he was limited yesterday, did not participate at all today. Now, that could just be limited yesterday, maybe getting a little rest today. I'm not really sure. Jackson Carman still on the reserve COVID list, and Suafilo still on the IR. So it's going to be either rookie Trey Hill and offensive tackle Fred Johnson that are going to be the options there at right guard. The O-line's protected Burrow a lot more than last year. Obviously, he's still the 4th most sacked quarterback in the National Football League at this point. But right now you could tell that even the O-line not being perfect, it's still doing just enough to allow the offense to be effective in situational play. And that's what the Bengals have been good at this year. Situational stuff, they've been solid. They've just yet to be able to put that perfect game together. They have too many lulls. We'll see if they could put an end to that this coming up Sunday.
You speak about the choking incident. I'm not choking incident. You talk about the throat contusion. I remember when Jim Sorgi, he was a quarterback.
Joe Burrow did choke in the overtime. Let's just be clear. He threw the interception. I mean, everyone's talking about Baker. He's the one that threw the interception.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, Joe Burrow, so great.
Jim Sorgi, the quarterback of Wisconsin back in 2003, our linebacker, Robert Reynolds, choked him, and he had a throat contusion, and he was suspended from the team for a couple of days. So I'll show you the picture when we go back to break. But you were saying something about Joe Burrow?
No, nothing yet. We'll get to that. But, what I thought the throat contusion, remember that movie Identity Thief? Melissa McCarthy and Jason Bateman.
Yes.
So when they kept talking about him getting that throat contusion, all I kept picturing is Melissa McCarthy continuing to punch Jason Bateman in the throat in that movie Identity Thief. But anyway, there you go. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, hour number 1 in the books. And everyone keeps talking all that smack about Baker Mayfield. They're 300-plus yards, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns. They score 40-plus points. The defense gives up on the ball. They're blaming him. Golden Boy Joe Burrow over there throws a pick in overtime with them deep in Packers territory. No one gives him any smack. Oh, but he's so good. He's so good. Now, step it up, Joe B. You're better than that. Hour 3 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Introducing the latest innovation in water technology. The new Nebbia by Moen Quattro Showerhead offers 4 unique experiences to choose from, designed to soothe, clarify, relieve, and cleanse. An indulgent shower experience engineered to use up to 50% less water. Water designs our life. Who designs for water? Visit Moen.com to learn more.
JCPenney's fall mystery sale is here. How much will you save? Hurry in store to find out. You could get an extra 30, 40, or even an extra 50% off Thursday through Sunday with Peel and Reveal coupon while supplies last. And with your surprise savings, you can easily refresh your closet and home. New fall styles, great fall savings. JCPenney. Coupon valid through 10/17. Some exclusions apply. Coupon giveaway in store only while supplies last. Must be 18 or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
Oh, yeah. The Kinner's Cash Contest is a company-wide contest for your chance to win $1,000 daily. No purchase necessary to enter or win. You will receive an email confirming entry. One winner will be chosen for each day. Contest is open to U.S. residents 18 years or older. Contest is sponsored by participating Alpha Media stations, Aptivada or their parent, subsidiary, and affiliated entities, advertising agencies, promotional partners, and members of families or households are not eligible to enter or win. Odds of winning depend on number of entries received. Contest is subject to all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations, void where prohibited. Participants must sign all contest release and waiver forms to be eligible to win the prize. The contest begins on Monday, October 4th, 2021, and ends on Friday, October 29th, 2021. To participate in the contest, you must listen to the participating radio station at the specified times and enter the word that wins at wingam.com. Contest sponsors are not responsible for technical failures or malfunctions of any kind. For full contest rules, please visit wingam.com. Decisions of station management with respect to the contest are final.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-838-9247. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-838-9247. 800-838-9247. That's 800-838-9247. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
Now at Lowe's, order any flooring like Stainmaster Pet Protect carpet, starting at $185 per square foot. See in-store associate or product detail page for warranty information.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Kev, maybe it's just because I'm a Browns homer, but I am curious. Have you ever seen a quarterback of a winning team get so little credit for the team's success? Like, the narrative out there is that the Browns are winning in spite of Baker Mayfield. I'm willing to admit that he's not the Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert type quarterback, but he's also not the bottom of the barrel type quarterback either. And it just fascinates me. Maybe it's because I'm doing what I can't stand other fans do, where they're not rational with their thinking. So I'm just like, I know Baker's not out of this world good, but I also know that if he was bad, the Browns aren't winning football games. And the Browns lost this past week, and it had nothing to do with Baker Mayfield. Like, could he have done more in that last drive? Absolutely. Should it have come down to that last drive? Absolutely not. So there's so much to take away. But like when Jared Goff's a very average looking quarterback right now. Okay. When he got to the Super Bowl, his numbers are no different than as what they are now. He had that one humongous breakout game on that Thursday night football game against the Chiefs. Remember him and Patrick Mahomes? They combined for like 1,000 passing yards each, or I think it was 900 passing yards, and they had 10 touchdowns between the two. And like everyone saw that game, and they put him in that category. And I said, look, we've seen quarterbacks have these out of body experiences before, and it's like Baker could have a 500-yard pass game and 5 touchdowns, and people will say, yeah, but that's not who he is. Jared Goff got the benefit of the doubt that year, and everyone no one said that they couldn't win with them and all that stuff. Like, it just amazes me. I'm sure it's Baker's personality. It's because it's the Browns, all that. But I've never seen a team win and everyone say, yeah, but it's in spite of the quarterback. Now, maybe a little with Joe Flacco. To a certain extent, I guess maybe that's the only quarterback I could think of, but I went and looked today. Baker's numbers are actually better than Joe Flacco's, so to me, it just fascinates me that at least they're better 4 years in than Flacco's first 4 years in the league. So, but they were very similar. They relied on their defense and they relied on their run game to beat teams, but that's always been the Ravens' approach. Maybe I'm a homer. I don't know, but it just fascinates me. There's a lot of teams that win in spite of not having a great quarterback, and we don't hear all these national shows talk about, well, they're good, but they're not. The quarterback's no good. If the quarterback's no good, then the Browns are no good, and the Browns are good. So I just don't understand all the hate for Baker. It's probably the personality. It just, it just brings that out in people, I guess. I don't know.
For me, when I look at Baker Mayfield, I see a good quarterback. I see a starting level, above starting level quarterback in the NFL. The thing about Baker that I would have reservations on is he plays great in the first quarter and great in the third quarter. Second quarter and fourth quarter, he doesn't play so great, at least this season. And we know that first quarter stuff is a lot of that stuff is scripted. So obviously, what do the coaches on the other side of the ball do? Like, they make adjustments. So then what do they do at halftime? They make adjustments of their own. And he comes out, plays better in the third quarter. And then adjustments are made in the fourth quarter and everything like that. So when you look at the biggest two games on their schedule this season, that they had the ball with an opportunity to win it, the interception with Kansas City, he was trying to throw out of bounds. DB made a great play, picked it off and everything like that. And that last drive against the Chargers was just horrible. Like, there ain't no way around it. That was horrible. They had a ton of time, because if you look at a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, you get him 90 seconds, you almost thinking to yourself, oh, man, we left him too much time. Like, that's like the meme that goes around when you leave those type of quarterbacks that much time on the clock and everything like that. And it was check down, Hail Mary ball game. Like, that can't go on. Like, that's the stuff that people look at. And we talked about this earlier in the week. Most of these games come down to the final drive. Like, don't matter how much talent you got, how good of a team you got and everything like that. Can your quarterback get you over the hump in that last drive? Can they get you down to scoring range? Can they put it in the end zone on that last drive to ice the game or win the game? Because all that stuff that happens in between, yeah, that matters. But at the end of the day, this is the NFL. Most point spreads and most games are won by one possession. So it's the one possession thing that I will be looking at for Baker Mayfield and the coaching staff to figure out. Because that last drive, man, that was bad. Now, it was on the NFL Network yesterday when I was on my off day. Got another one coming up, by the way. And I watched that last drive again, and I'm thinking to myself, what in the world was that? I can't explain it. Couldn't explain it to you if I tried. It was check down, Hail Mary, ball game. And then even the drive before that, like we talked about before, that shot play to Higgins. I just don't understand. I'm not understanding the play calls. I'm not understanding the decision making by the quarterback. It's a lot to be desired on those last two drives by the Browns. And for me, I can only speak for me. I can't speak for the talking heads on ESPN or the other talk shows and everything like that. But those are the plays and those are the things that I will worry about. Like, that was alarming bad for me.
Yeah, and again, doesn't turn the ball 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, had a chance with that about a minute to go. The Browns they had 3 timeouts. They used all 3 of their timeouts on that Chargers offensive drive, the one that the Browns defense literally had to pick up Eckler and just walk him into the end zone so that they would just, get the Chargers off the field and have some time. So, it is what it is. But the end of the day, yes, and then like last year, like I know this year, the Browns have been behind twice in the fourth quarter where Baker's had a chance to come back. He threw the interception against the Chiefs in week 1. And then, of course, the 2 Hail Mary attempts on the end because they couldn't get anything in the middle of the field in that final drive against the Chargers. The problem is these aren't just 2 losses. These aren't just any 2 losses. These are losses against 2 teams that the Browns should not, I shouldn't say beat. They were in both games. I mean, the fact that it came down to the final drive against 2 of the top teams in the AFC is that, but the Browns are 0-2 against 2 of the top teams in the AFC when they came in as Super Bowl contenders, and they still are Super Bowl contenders.
Absolutely.
But it just fascinates me, too, because no other quarterback gets that. Joe Burrow literally throws an interception in overtime with his team in Packer territory, and we're blaming McPherson. Like, no, because if that was Baker Mayfield that threw an interception in the opponent's territory, we'd still be talking. Everyone would still be talking about it. It would lead every show, and that's the stuff that drives me nuts. Now, like Joe Burrow's a more likable guy. You know, he has that Macaulay Culkin weird Home Alone type smile to him, but he's kind of soft. I mean, the guy, he's having to sit out of practice because he's resting his voice. You know, he's resting. He's resting his voice. He can't talk. Oh, poor Joe Burrow. Poor Joe Burrow. He can't even talk. I mean, his voice. I mean, he's protecting his voice, Kev. I just don't get it. Joe Burrow. Baker Mayfield playing with his arm all beat up. And Joe Burrow's resting because of his voice. I don't get it. Don't get it. So it is what it is. So Ron over here, you know, Ron loves chirping too. Ron on Facebook says, you think the Clowns are so good, they're going to choke as long as you let Hayfield play. He's way overrated. Well, coming from a Bucs fan, I heard Tom Brady. He's concerned about his pinky. His pinky's a little beat up. He's concerned. He's concerned about his pinky. So Jake Whiting on Facebook says that Baker Mayfield's a game manager, not a game breaker, like Allen, Herbert, Rodgers. He's just not elite, but he's not terrible either. I agree with that. I don't think Baker's elite. Baker's not elite. But I also don't think he's as bad as what everyone is making him out to be. And it's really going to come down to the expectations as far as whenever it comes down to, you know, will he, get paid? And I think that's the big question mark is, you know, once you pay him, then what do the Browns become? Well, the Browns become what the Seahawks are. The Browns become what the Packers are. The Browns become what the Chiefs are slowly starting to turn into. Limited. And it's not because of quarterback play. It's because they're going to be financially limited. I mean, you sit there, we're going to hold Baker to a win-loss expectation, but whenever the Seahawks lose, it's not because of Russell Wilson. It's because he doesn't have a whole lot of help. Baker wins when it's because of all the help, and when they lose, it's not because the help's not showing up. It's not because OBJ's dropping easy first downs. It's not because Kevin Stefanski's calling boneheaded plays. It's because, well, you have Baker. If you didn't have Baker, you'd win that game. I've never seen anything like it. Like I said, Joe Burrow throws an interception in overtime at home against the Packers. Nothing. Joe Burrow throws 3 straight interceptions a couple weeks ago. We overlook it. No one talks about it. I'm like, if Baker Mayfield actually threw 3 straight passes to the other team, no one would let me hear the end of it.
I think it has a lot to do with
petty. I'm going to make sure Joe Burrow's deficiencies are thrown all over the place.
I think it has to do with expectations. You know, a lot of people had the Browns going to the AFC Championship. Some people had them going to the Super Bowl this year. So with those expectations for them to take the next step, like there is going to become more eyes on the prize, more eyes on the flaws of the team and everything like that. Yeah, that defense gave up points left and right. But when you're the quarterback, and I'm not a person that believes like this, but people view it as a one-on-one situation. They think this is tennis. NFL ain't tennis. So the matchup that they're talking about is Baker versus Herbert. And they're talking about them going for it on 4th and 8 in their own territory because their coaching staff believes they have more confidence in Herbert to make a play. And then when the Browns are trying to bleed the clock, they run a draw. Like that's saying like, oh, coach doesn't believe that he can make the correct throw and pick up this first down. We're trying to just burn clock instead of pick up this first down. So that's how it's billed. It's billed as this person versus this person as if it's tennis when it's actually not.
So, and that's what I get a lot of is just how much better Joe Burrow is than Baker Mayfield. And I keep like, so you talked about those limitations and stuff too. So I find this interesting because I get so much of this. Joe Burrow's better than Baker Mayfield, better than Baker Mayfield. Well, I hate to tell you guys this, but Joe Burrow is Baker Mayfield. Like, I know that you don't like hearing that, but for those of you who are live on Facebook and YouTube, come back to Facebook, YouTube, take a look at this. So I started looking at this. I was like, you know what? Like they're the same play. Like their numbers are pretty damn identical. Okay. Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield have both thrown the exact same amount of passes. Now, Joe Burrow has completed 71% of his passes. Baker Mayfield has completed 67% of his passes. I mean, yes, edge goes to Joe Burrow. Higher completion percentage, more power to you. Now, Joe Burrow has more passing yards than Baker Mayfield. I get that a lot. Well, he has more passing yards. Okay. Joe Burrow has 1,269 passing yards. Baker Mayfield has 1,240. Joe Burrow has 29 more passing yards than Baker Mayfield. You know, the quarterback that can't throw, the quarterback that the team doesn't trust him to throw the ball that much. It's kind of funny because literally Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield have thrown the exact same amount of passes. The passing yards, Joe Burrow has the edge there, 29 more passing yards than Baker Mayfield. Okay, super.
Let's also think about the style of offenses that both teams run. The Cleveland Browns have the number one rushing offense in football. The Cleveland Browns have handed the ball off more times than anyone in the National Football League. All right. Like, that's insane. So the Cleveland Browns have handed the ball off 175 times. They have handed the ball off 50 more times than the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are a passing team. Joe Burrow is leading a passing-led offense. What business does Joe Burrow have having stats similar to a quarterback who hands it off 175 times already 5 weeks in? I mean, we're talking about Joe Burrow, who averages 234 passing yards a game. Baker Mayfield averages 230 yards a game. And then the touchdowns. So this is the big kick I get out of this, too. So Joe Burrow, 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Baker Mayfield, only 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Let's be real here. Last year, I distinctly remember the goalpost being moved because Baker Mayfield had more passing yards, significantly more passing yards a game than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had more passing yards than Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield had significantly more passing touchdowns. Bengals fans said, that doesn't matter. You told me that having more passing touchdowns last year did not matter. Okay. You told me that it does not matter. Okay, so that's what's key here is that all of a sudden this year having more touchdowns because it fits your narrative that it matters. You guys crack me up. You guys make me laugh, which at the very least, if you're going to be silly and moronic, at least you make me laugh. More power to you. But the bottom line is, folks, Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield, they're the same quarterback. They're the same. Statistically, they're the same. I have it right here up on the screen. Now, Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase, the number one wide receiver target, a guy that I did not expect to be this good, even though I said, hey, if you want me to be impressed with him, he needs to be Justin Jefferson, because Justin Jefferson was the best rookie wide receiver in football last year. And if the Bengals take a chance on taking a receiver with the number 5 overall pick, he better be at least Justin Jefferson. And he has been. He's been fantastic. Every game they connect on a 40-plus yard connection. It's unbelievable. I love watching that aspect of the game. But I said this the other day, that Bengals fans, you're falling for that one big play a game. Everyone oohs and ahs and they retweet the big play, the pass play between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and everyone says, oh my goodness, look at how great this offense is. Well, Joe Burrow has the 18th most passing yards in the NFL. That's average. He's not even in the top 10 in total touchdowns. Average. He has the 5th most interceptions in the NFL this year. That's not even good. He's still the 4th most sacked quarterback in the NFL, and he has the 15th highest QBR in the NFL. Average. I'm not beating up on Joe Burrow, too. I'm just trying to make a point that I don't view Joe Burrow as a bad quarterback. I view Baker Mayfield as a good quarterback, and you guys rip me for it. Well, guess what? Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield, they're the same. They're the same, statistically the same. I mean, we're talking about completion percentage being a few points off. Okay, great. By the way, 70% completion percentage, that's super impressive. I'm not knocking that. That's really good. But everyone that says Baker Mayfield's a game manager, well, does that make Joe Burrow a game manager? They have the same amount of passes. They have the same amount of yards. Oh, I'm sorry. Joe Burrow has 29 more passing yards. But my point earlier was Joe Burrow leads a pass-first offense. So Baker Mayfield leads a run-first offense, but yet they have the same amount of throws, the same amount of pass attempts, the same amount of yards. Now, Jake Whiting says, how does Baker Mayfield only have 4 touchdowns? That's not good. I agree with you that that's not good. That he has a number 1 target in OBJ. To this day, no one can wrap their mind or their brain around how in the world that does not work. How does a quarterback get a number 1 wide receiver like that and it just doesn't work? It's either it's Baker Mayfield not knowing how to use a number 1 wide receiver, which I have a hard time believing that any quarterback does not know how to use a number 1 wide receiver, or that number 1 wide receiver just is not a number 1 wide receiver. So it doesn't help that Jarvis has been out. Look, it's a lot of excuse making. I absolutely get it. I sound annoying right now. I'd be ripping you for saying the same thing, but keep in mind, all right, at the end of the day, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, the same. So Bengals fans, every time you try telling me that Baker Mayfield sucks, look at the numbers. You're saying every time you insult Baker Mayfield, you're insulting your quarterback as well. Same pass attempts, roughly within a couple points each other of completion percentage. It's the same amount of everything, same amount of yards. Burrow throws more interceptions. All right. He throws more touchdowns. He also throws more interceptions. Baker's not costing his team games. Joe Burrow is. Joe Burrow, 3 straight interceptions to the other team, throws an interception in overtime after driving his team into scoring position against the Packers. Everyone keeps saying that the kicking game lost the Bengals the game last week. No, call it like it is. If Baker Mayfield would have thrown a pick in that game against the Chargers down the stretch, everyone would have said Baker cost his team the game. So I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it 100 just like you guys do. Your quarterback cost you the game. Period. Simple as that. So I don't think Joe Burrow is bad. I think Baker Mayfield's good. You guys tell me Baker Mayfield's bad, but they're the same damn quarterback. So when I say Baker Mayfield's good, I'm also saying Joe Burrow's good. They're both very good quarterbacks. But stop saying Baker's bad because you don't even realize it because you don't understand football, that you're insulting your own quarterback. And Joe Burrow, a pass-first quarterback, should not have numbers similar to Baker Mayfield. Keep that in mind. Like, Joe Burrow should have more passing yards. He should have more pass attempts. He should have more touchdowns. On a lot of, and I'd say about a good 75% of the plays that they draw up a passing play for Joe Burrow, it's a handoff for the Browns offense because they have the best run game in football. So I'm done with that little rant, but it's just irritating me, the narrative that these Bengals fans try to create, that Baker's so bad, but yet look at your quarterback's numbers. You guys are foolish. You guys get so turned on by that one pass play a game of that 40-yard connection, most times for a touchdown between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Oh, my goodness. You retweet it, you share it, you tag Kinner in it and say, oh, man, look at this. Okay, cool. I don't even need to watch the Bengals game because that one pass play game that you tagged me in on Twitter, I just watched the whole game because that's usually it. Joe Burrow averages 234 pass yards a game. And you're bragging? I think they're in the bottom 10 in pass yards in passing offense. They're in the bottom 10 in rushing offense. They're the bottom 10 in points per game. They're not a good offense. At least the Browns, best running team in football. I mean, give me a break. Like the Browns offense, I'll take the Browns offense any day of the week over the Bengals. You could drool over your one big pass play game between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But at the end of the day, Joe Burrow is Baker Mayfield. Kev, you can come back in now. I'm sorry.
No, you good, man. You're good.
Am I? I don't think Bengals fans think I'm good right now.
I want everybody to put the 100 emoji in the chat because I'm rubbing off on Kenner and trying to get him hip.
Did I do it right, though?
You did it good.
What was the other one the other day? I forgot. I almost broke it out at home, and I'm like, no, I'll screw it up. What did you say? Oh, my gosh.
No cap.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I got busted cap. That's bad. Go to jail for that. That's threatening.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
People. Like, not like, oh, no cap, but like no crap. Like you just take the R out. No, like.
No cap. I'm not lying.
Oh. I say something. I say like the S word, like no blank. The hell was that? Some keys. Anyways. All right. I got all fired up. But there you go.
Oh, I know what that was.
David Shaw says, device. Bengals didn't lose because of the interception. Shaw, you know nothing. Yes. When your quarterback has your team in scoring position in overtime, if he doesn't throw that interception, they win that football game. Shaw, I know you're a Michigan fan and you pretend to know football, but gosh, man, that one good team a year that you see play in Ohio State, you should take notes. You would be a lot smarter football-wise. You're better than that, Shaw. You throw an interception in overtime, when you have a chance to score, you lose your team that game. Just saying. 100. Daryl McKinney says 100. He put it in the chat. McKinney knows what's up. McKinney, I love you. I hope you're doing well, man. All right. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash. Just remember, Baker Mayfield is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is Baker Mayfield. They're the same. So Bengals fans, remember that the next time you want to insult Baker Mayfield, because you might want to look at your quarterback as well. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low near 66. And tomorrow will be cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 82. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
Ready for renovations? Arts Rental Equipment has the tools you need to make your home, lawn, and garden stand out this year. From brush chippers to cutoff saws, no job is too small or too big. Visit your local Arts store today. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
For the ones going above and beyond. For the ones reaching out, helping out, and lending a hand. For the ones people count on. You can count on Grainger. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, backed by 24/7 customer support and specialists to help with hard-to-find products. Because you've got everyone's back. We've got yours. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, John Glazer here for Glazer Soft Water. We've been making water great since 1988, and no matter what your water issues, we have solutions. Your city water can be clear, but still be hard and have the taste and odor of chlorine. Well water can look, smell, and taste terrible. Glazer Soft Water will fix your water and will even include a 7-year parts and labor warranty so you don't have to worry. Visit our website to learn more at glazersoftwater.com. Glazer Water really is better water.
Hi, this is Sales Manager Jason High of Germain Honda Beaver Creek. Personally, inviting you to take advantage of the 0% financing on the Honda HR-V, Passport, and Pilot. Germain Honda has over 200 new Hondas to choose from, including the redesigned 2021 Honda Ridgeline and the 2022 Honda Odyssey, plus over 30 of the brand new 2022 Honda Civics to choose from. Now that's a selection no one else in the region can claim. Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer lasting scent.
Really? What? No way. That's what visitors at International Bird Rescue say when they learn we rely on Dawn dish soap to clean wildlife, the same Dawn they use at home to wash dishes. Yep, wildlife rescue workers have been using Dawn for decades, helping save more than 125,000 birds, even these little ducklings. You see, Dawn suds loosen up the grease and rinse it from their delicate feathers. Taking grease out of wildlife's way is so darn easy.
Do you have a home improvement project? Use the right tool for the job and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. Arts has the best selection from power washers and ladders to loaders and dump trailers. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Help DEA keep our community safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Takeback Day, October 23rd. Visit DEATakeback.com.
Football fans, the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show is officially back. Every Sunday morning starting at 11:30 a.m., College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and Justin Kinner will be live at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. The guys will recap the biggest games from college football Saturday, including your Ohio State Buckeyes. The guys will also get you set up for the day's biggest NFL matchups, featuring your Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and more. It's the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show, live from Frickers on 741, Sunday mornings at 11:30 on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you going to miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
We are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Our Glacier Softwater High School football game of the week tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Miamisburg Vikings welcoming in the Springfield Wildcats. That's tomorrow. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and I will be out there calling all the action week 9 of the high school football season. I cannot believe that. By the way, speaking of Keith Byers, happy birthday.
Hey, KB.
To the former Buckeye great. So, there you go. The Keith Byers Show, of course, you can catch every Monday from noon to 1, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Of course, he's already started releasing his polls. We released our polls. And I tell you, the only people that love polls more than sports fans are strippers. So I'm just saying. So there you go. I shouldn't talk about strippers while promoting a high school sporting event, but yet here we are. It's what you get with the Justin Kinner Show. I don't give a cap. Did I do it right?
No, you definitely.
I don't give a crap. Right. I'll just pretend I meant to say crap.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So, Bobby Sparks. That's a cool name, by the way. Bobby Sparks. Like, that's the kind of name that you don't call him like Bobby or just Sparks. It's Bobby Sparks. Bobby, I'm jealous of you. Bobby Sparks, that's a cool name. Well, maybe. I got to read what he says first. He says, Justin, you're a funny man. See, I'm funny. People love stripper jokes. Baker has played. Oh, no, never mind. Bobby, you're just Bobby now. So he says, thanks, Justin. But he goes, Justin, you're a funny man. Baker has played 51 games, Burrow 15. Well, whose fault is that? Not necessarily Burrow's, but the crap organization he plays for. We'll see where Burrow is after 51 games. Well, no, I mean, Baker's always going to be 51 games ahead of Burrow if we do it that way. The bottom line is, I mean, quarterbacks are coming into the league. I mean, Justin Herbert's not that far into his career, and look how damn good he is. And then Joe Burrow was the number 1 overall pick. You know, Baker's biggest problem? He was the number 1 overall pick. Like, I think that's really what it comes down to. If Baker Mayfield is selected 4th or 5th, I don't think he's as criticized as much, right? Like, I think it's almost like resentment around, like, how is he a number 1 overall pick? Because when you draft a guy number 1 overall, you expect them to be the best quarterback in that draft. But technically, the Bengals didn't even get the best quarterback in their draft. Like, imagine how much better the Bengals would be with Justin Herbert instead of Burrow. That's not an insult, by the way, because if the only quarterback that's better than you is Justin Herbert, that's pretty damn good. But I mean, the only quarterback that's better than Baker out of that year's draft, well, no, there's 2 of them, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, but still, just saying.
Yeah, I dig that. I think it's all about situations that you're put in. You talked about, you know what I'm saying, Burrow playing for a quote-unquote crap organization, but that's a reality of the situation. I think that the Chargers are a better run team. I think they had more weapons. Yeah, their offensive line was bad his rookie year, but what did they do his second year? Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern is
Corey Linsley
balling out of control. They spent money in free agency to get Corey Linsley, the former Buckeye from Green Bay, and everything like that. So they're shoring up, you know, the weak parts of their game and everything like that. And the money that the Bengals spent in free agency on their defense, which were good players, the Chargers have that on defense with a Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr., and a Joey Bosa. So, like, their guys are kind of like younger than the guys on the Bengals, and will never be anybody to say like that Mike Brown does a great job running an organization. Like, I don't think that anybody could say that.
Mm-hmm, but I mean, you're still talking about.
So I think, like, if they flip teams, I think they would be about doing exactly what the other one's doing.
Oh, Joe Burrow is not Justin Herbert. I disagree 1,000,000%.
You think Herbert would be balling out of control with Cincinnati?
I mean, look, Bengals fans view Joe Burrow as balling out of control right now, which is hilarious. But yes, I do believe that. I don't think that the Bengals would have a different record because you're only as good as the people around you. But Justin Herbert just looks better than Joe Burrow. Like, he's more consistent. Now, I know what you're saying. Like, it's easier to look better because you played a better team. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm not convinced. If Joe Burrow's running the Bengals team right now, I don't think they're better. I think they're about the same. I just think they're about the same. And by the way, not a bad thing. I don't think Baker's bad, and I don't think Burrow's bad. I'm just realistic about who Baker Mayfield is. I don't think Bengals fans are realistic of who Joe Burrow is because statistically they are the same. 518-1410. Oh, hold on. Bobby Sparks. You didn't see the rest of my comment. I said Baker's had most. Oh, Bobby is right. I did cut him off. See, I cut people off when I talk to them, and I cut people off even when reading their social media posts because my ADD is so bad. So to be fair to Bobby Sparks, Justin, you're a funny man. Thank you. Baker's played 51 games. Burrow's only played 15. We'll see where Burrow is after 51 games. To be fair, I'll see. I like rational guys like this. I should have finished. To be fair, Baker has had multiple coaches, coordinators. They both have to overcome traditionally bad franchises. All right, Bobby. There you go. My bad. He did say, keep up the good work, gentlemen. He put a football at the end. So there you go.
Will do.
Nice guy. Speaking of nice guys, let's talk to someone who's not nice. I think this is Shaw on hold, correct? Is this Shaw?
Yes, it's Shaw there.
Shaw, what's up? Shaw, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. What you got?
Why the comedy in the background?
I figured I'd beat you to the comedy.
You're all about it. So how can someone lose a game when a missed field goal happened right after the interception? Then after that, he drives them down the field, unlike some quarterback from Cleveland, because all he wants to do is check down.
You literally know nothing. Field. You literally know nothing.
I know nothing because he didn't check down for three plays.
You know nothing. You still there, Shaw?
So how do I know nothing?
Because I can't hear you over all the laughter. What?
Baker didn't. You're childish.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
lighten up, Shaw.
Man.
You're so cranky all the time.
No, I'm not cranky all the time. No, I'm not. I was actually in a good mood, and then you put me that way because you have no logic in your brain whatsoever.
On, Shaw. Turn that frown upside down.
You are an absolute child.
Aw, you okay? You seem upset. Is it because I made fun of Michigan? Shaw, listen, we can't have long silence on the air. I get fined if there's a long silence, so you got to respond. I mean, I say something, you say something back. It's how this works. It's a conversation.
Hey, Kev, can I have an adult conversation with you?
What's up,
Kev,
man?
Can I have an adult conversation with you?
What's up?
How do you even work with this child?
How do you even work with this child?
What you got to ask me, man? Sports related, man. What's good?
So do you? I don't even know where to go now. So why do you think that the Ohio State Penn State game will be the 4:00 game and not the 7:30 game?
Because they get first rights. They get first rights of refusal. You know, their contract, the Big Ten contract with Fox and everything like that, they get to pick their games first because they got a contract.
But if Fox chooses Michigan State, isn't that picked first?
Yeah, they'll pick that one first, but then they got the 4:00 window too. That's why like this Ohio State Indiana game is coming on at 7:30. Like nobody wants it. So
but
then
ESPN isn't the next pick after that Big Ten network?
I don't think they want it either. I think they've got. I don't know who they would pick up for that. Who they're getting for that spot.
That's what that right there is the whole reason I think Ohio State Penn State 7:30 is because Big Ten network's going to pick next, and then they're going to choose 3:30, 4:00, and that puts Ohio State at 7:30 because that's what ESPN wants.
Hey, I hope you're right. I hope you're right because I got a chance to get tickets for cost. So if I'm able to go to an Ohio State game and it's that Ohio State game versus Penn State at night for retail, I'm gonna be a happy camper. But I just got a bad feeling that it ain't gonna happen.
I just don't see how ESPN allows it to get to be 4:00. I don't see it being there. And then Fox isn't going to have two choices.
They just did with the not Indiana. I'm sorry, the Iowa Penn State game.
The noon game was Big 12.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. That's legit.
Shaw 1, Kev 0.
I see what you're saying because it wasn't two Big Ten games. I got you. You might be right. Maybe they'll be able to make some magic happen and we'll get a real night game for the Buckeyes. I know that'll bring you a lot of joy watching the Buckeyes at night.
Hey, it'll make me feel happy when you beat Penn State by 33. So it'll be all right.
I hope so.
And that's all we care about is you being happy.
Well, now that the child's back on the phone.
Now that the child's back on the phone.
So
what takes you so?
Who does Ohio State have after the bye?
Who do they have at the Indiana?
Remember, we were talking about Indiana playing at night. Come on now, keep up.
That didn't say that if it was next week or not. Thanks.
You're right.
But anyhow, on to the adults having a conversation. What do you think the line will be for the Indiana game?
Probably 26, somewhere around there. Probably like 25.5.
Basically, you guys pick your score again?
Yeah. This Indiana team ain't no good.
Right, exactly.
Michigan. Look, Shaw, we got to move on. Adult conversations are boring. Let's just be honest. You want to call in and talk Michigan, we want to talk Ohio State because the Buckeyes are the only team that matters, not Michigan. It's like the song says, we don't give a damn for the whole state of Michigan. I mean, let's just be clear. Whoever gave me this mic, that was a horrible idea. Shout out to the Hoop. But yeah, see, let's be honest. He calls in wanting to have an adult conversation that's boring. He gets his feelings hurt. He got mad because I said Burrow cost the Bengals the game in overtime. When you are the quarterback and you throw the ball to the other team with a chance to win, you cost your team the game. Just saying. We'll be back with more entertaining adult conversations. Don't go anywhere. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine and OGW Energy Resources. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Call William Brockman and Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 for reliable Lennox products that can make the air in your home absolutely perfect. Ohio license number 14911.
O'Reilly.
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Today on Hey Culligan, why does your team stink? Here's Coach Waters.
Hey, Culligan. Yeah, my team stinks.
Ooh, harsh.
No. I mean, they stink. They won't hit the showers because it makes their skin all dry and itchy.
Coach, it sounds like your guys have been hit hard by hard water.
You kidding me? Hard water?
Yep, so let's call an audible in the form of one Culligan Smart High Efficiency Water Softener to get the smooth back in their skin and the stink out of your team.
Okay, Culligan, I'm putting you in.
Coach, we're already on the way. Kick things off with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Hello, everyone. It's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Call me today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Oktoberfest at Milano's has begun. We're serving our once-a-year favorites like schnitzel sandwiches and German pizza. Get it to go or stay for the games with NFL Sunday Ticket. See you at Milano's Pizza, Subs, and Taps for big screen football.
If you are push mowing your yard using an inefficient lawn tractor, or your current zero-turn spends more time in the shop than mowing your grass, it's time you look at the Hustler Zero-Turn Lawnmower. Residential mowers from Hustler are built like tanks and drive like sports cars. All Hustler mowers have fabricated welded steel decks. Don't settle on cheap units with flimsy stamped decks from big box stores. See Small Engine Service Pros and we'll guide you to the right mower for your property and your budget. 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for their entry-level machinists. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages starting at $15 per hour and up to $18 per hour with prior experience. New hires are eligible for merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
I learned long ago, if you've got the right tools and a little know-how, you can do it yourself. And no wall of mine's gonna get some dime a dozen paint. Pittsburgh Paints and Stains. Premium performance from its smooth application to that tough, washable one-coat finish. It exceeds expectations of what makes great paint. Pittsburgh Paints and Stains. Available exclusively at Menards.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Sip and save at Circle K. Enjoy one coffee or fountain drink every day for only $5.99 a month. Sign up in store.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Can't believe it's Thursday already. So it's Thursday, which means there's NFL football tonight, Kev. We got the Bucs in action tonight. Looking forward to that matchup. Again, Thursday night football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Ron's team, going to be in action. They're at the Eagles. And it's a 7-point line, obviously, in favor of the Bucs. Now, apparently, Tom Brady has a pinky issue. So keep an eye on that. But it's at Philadelphia. Thursday night football coming up later on tonight. Make sure you get your picks in. It's the Pro Football Pick'em contest at wingam.com every week. Make sure you get your picks submitted. Weekly round winners get $25 in Frickers Bucks. And actually, a couple people used theirs last Sunday at the Sunday morning tailgate show at Frickers on 741. We are there every Sunday morning starting at 11:30. The show starts at 11:30. We get there at 11. We hang out. Show ends at 1, but we always hang out. Keith and I, Byers and I, we stay and we watch the first half of the 1 o'clock games and we hang out with everyone, have a good time. So come on out. Frickers 741 by the Dayton Mall for the Sunday morning tailgate show, but also make sure you get your NFL picks submitted. So there you go. But they got some. Don Roberts gave me some career advice. He said, remember, don't do your sponsorship plugs in the funny mic. You might get a little bad feedback from them. Always looking out. David Shaw, he said, thanks, Kev. At least someone wants to be an adult. That was David Shaw on Facebook. But David Shaw has more, because after Don Roberts said that I shouldn't do my sponsorship plugs in the funny mic, Shaw had to respond with, oh, Don Roberts. But then again, that would mean an adult would be in charge. That was Shaw. My goodness.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I'm just saying. This is Shaw's voice from now on. Every time Shaw messages into the show, he gets the voice. He gets the voice. And
why?
Because I'm helping him sound more upbeat. He always calls in, just David Shaw. Oh, I want Michigan playing at noon on the big noon. No, talk like this. Say it with your Mickey Mouse voice.
Shaw, we appreciate you listening.
We appreciate you listening. Thanks, Kev, for being an adult. Why are you laughing at Shaw, Kev? You're being rude. You're being... It's something to work on. It really is.
We all have things to work on.
I might be looking for a new job after today. I thought this mic would be... It's the David Shaw mic.
Oh, my goodness gracious, dude. Dude, if my DMs are flooded by the time the show is over, man.
Hold your horses. Now, what did he say? What was his favorite line that he botched?
Hold your brakes.
Hold your brakes. David Shaw says, hold your brakes. Braves fan. Oh, we got the middle finger emojis. Now who's being the child, Mr. Shaw? Now who's being the child? Just saying.
Eyes emojis in the chat for the middle finger.
Holy moly. All right. Again. So I found this interesting. We close out with an adult conversation now. An adult conversation. Mic off. It's time to have a serious conversation. So, it's been interesting all week. Oklahoma, there's been talks about who their quarterback's going to be. I mean, coming in, Spencer Rattler was the presumed NFL #1 overall pick. He was a Heisman favorite coming in. People could not wait, to watch Desmond Ridder. I'm sorry, I'm looking at his name on my sheet right here. But when we talk about Caleb or Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma, so much expectations for him coming in. But Kev, how about this? So Caleb Williams comes in. He leads the comeback win against Texas last Saturday. Now there's a quarterback controversy in Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley's come out and said all week that they're not going to announce who the starting quarterback's going to be.
Right.
They don't want to announce who the starting quarterback's going to be. And then out of nowhere, Oklahoma today announced that yesterday there would be randomly out of nowhere, there'd be no media availability whatsoever. That threw everybody off because everyone's been wondering who the starting quarterback's going to be. For Oklahoma, whether would Spencer Rattler get his job back, or would Caleb Williams get rewarded for, hey, they just look different. There was a spark when he took over. I love this storyline. So the announcement, so they canceled practice. So Carson Cunningham covers the Oklahoma Sooners, says OU football, and this was yesterday at 12:30, OU football has canceled all media availability today. No reason given, no more media until after Saturday's game. Lincoln Riley was upset because he kept saying that they have not decided who the starting quarterback was going to be. He was asked who's getting the first team reps. He said that they don't know. They haven't decided who's going to get that. Well, gotta love student radio and gotta love student newspapers. A reporter for the student newspaper, the OU Daily, they released a report concerning the goings-on in a closed to the public OU football practice. Now, they had no access to this practice.
Right.
But just like the Bengals, Oklahoma practices outside. They don't have an indoor practice facility. So I guess a nearby building, one of the reporters went to this nearby building that overlooks the practice, and they zoomed in. I love this. This is great stuff. They had the binoculars. They zoom in. They found out that Caleb Williams has been getting all the first team reps throughout the week. They've been tracking this. How cool is that? So Lincoln Riley was furious, canceled all the media availability for the rest of the week. I love when student newspapers crack that kind of stuff, man. Like the Guardian is the name of the newspaper for the student newspaper for Wright State. Where I went to college. I wrote for the Guardian when I was there. It was really cool seeing a lot of student reporters. They were kind of pains in the asses to a lot of administrators there because we all know the mess that is Wright State up top, with all the money issues out there and everything. And a lot of reporters were right there. It was really cool seeing student reporters being right there in the thick of things, kind of getting the scoop. That's from a college standpoint, but from a sports standpoint, I love this. The fact that, you have all these national writers, you have all this national media, and it's the student newspaper that breaks the story. I just found it kind of cool. Good for that reporter, man. I don't know who he or she is, but that's really good stuff to be thinking outside the box, to have that drive, to have that the will to go find that story. I thought that was pretty cool, Kev. I thought that was really, really neat because most reporters who are getting paid money, they're sitting there saying, oh, well, practice is closed. I guess we won't know until Saturday before the game. And that student reporter took it upon themselves to say, nah, I'm going to find this out. They went and checked it out. Awesome stuff there. Lincoln Riley not happy, but hey, it is what it is.
I was about to say Oklahoma doesn't have an IPF, but they do. They do have an IPF, indoor practice facility. It's called.
So they're not like the Bengals. My bad.
So for me, it's called the Everest Training Center, if anybody cares. So for me, Coach Riley, you got to be smarter than that. You got to be smarter.
Coach Riley.
You got to be smarter than that. People want to know. There are going to be people hanging out around wherever the team is trying to figure that out. Now, people climbing buildings or hanging out in buildings, maybe you didn't think of that. You probably should have moved practice indoors all week if you wanted to keep this top-notch secret. Like, you have an IPF for a reason. Yeah, it's probably for bad weather, but for this situation that you're trying to keep under wraps and trying to keep your team unified and try to keep things under wraps and everything like that, you go ahead and have that indoors. Who do they have this week anyway?
Actually, that's a good question. I have no idea. All I care about is the quarterback matchup, much less who they play this coming up weekend. Yeah, so there's that. But it does say that the OU Daily does not usually get regular access to practice. I highly doubt. Remember I said earlier how soft colleges could be? Like if you're not reporting positive things about them or saying positive things about them, they will restrict access to you. I know firsthand because I don't sit there and say that the team in town is great at literally everything that they do. So because of that, I'm not allowed access to interview their basketball coach. So that's what happens. If you don't pamper these universities and tell them how great they are, they will just cut access to you. They just, they'll make your life miserable covering their games, which is so ironic because, you're a resource to them. The Oklahoma Sooners will now punish the student newspaper. They will restrict access to their practice. It was already restricted before. I guarantee you they'll get no access moving forward. It'll be a real professional move on Oklahoma's part, but that's how these colleges work. Tell them how pretty they are, and if you don't, they won't give you their phone number.
So they have Texas. No, they have they have TCU this week. They have the TCU this week, and you remember what was that? Last summer, one of the Oklahoma quarterbacks wanted to transfer to TCU, and Lincoln Riley was trying to block the transfer in conference and everything like that.
See, I have no issue with that. I know you're on the other side. I have no issue with blocking it in conference. I just think that there's too much to take from one side to the other. We're talking about conference play. It's not like block it. I think coaches are wrong for trying to block every move a player tries to make. But I know right now that doesn't matter because interconference transferring is just the norm now. So
yeah, so I could understand wanting to keep the starting quarterback under wraps because their defensive coordinator is pretty good down there at TCU and everything like that. So I could understand trying to keep it under wraps. But if you're trying to keep it under wraps, you got to do a better job than that. You want to keep TCU guessing, see what they got to prepare for and everything, that whole cliche stuff. So you got to do a better job than that. So move it to the IPF where nobody can get in unless they're a part of the football program.
Get your Week 6 NFL picks in at wingam.com. It's our NFL Pro Football Pick'em contest at wingam.com presented by Frickers. $25 in Frickers Bucks awarded to the weekly round winners. Everyone always seems to miss the Thursday night game. When I say everyone, I'm assuming everyone because I always seem to miss the Thursday night game. Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. Kev, as we go out here, we're talking about Buccaneers or Eagles? Who gets the win tonight?
Buccaneers by 13.
Buccaneers by 13. All right. I saw that Greeny picked the Eagles in the upset earlier. I'm not feeling that froggy right now. If you're feeling froggy leap, I'm not feeling froggy. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say the Buccaneers, the safe pick, even with Tom Brady's injured pinky and all.
Philly going to put up some points, though.
One of the few fingers he doesn't have a ring on. Just saying. Have a good night, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Take care.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Don't miss USA's new shoppable live